Is that someone that we know, or is that just
he's a Discord mod. He's the Discord mod. He is very knowledgeable and very well spoken.
Nice.
Is he on?
No,
Facebook
he's not on
groups? Like,
Facebook.
okay. Is he someone from back in the day?
No, I don't know.
That's what I
that
just
question.
asked him. I thought maybe it was
I don't know.
from the guy from San Francisco is what I thought. Whenever.
That's Golden Gate.
Oh, apparently we're live right now. Did you know that?
Yeah, but he has another name on Facebook too, so I thought maybe.
Forget what that is. Yeah, you're live on YouTube right now. You're about to be live on Facebook.
Ta-da!
I had to Facebook requires that I put in a title or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's lame. All right, now you're live on both.
Hey,
Rob.
That's
Rob.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sure can.
Yes.
Graydon was asking if they're off-topic questions. You're not allowed to ask about when John told me where all the casks are. So try not to do that.
Shit. Well, I'm out, guys.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Hi, Sundai.
What an awesome surprise. Hi. Who said that? Rob? Hi. Man, I owe you, yeah. How are you doing? I've been meaning to message you.
That's all good. This is our third time to be on the same
Yeah, this is a great
podcast, but
surprise.
actually the first.
Good to see you again, Rob.
What's up, everybody? Ken, I haven't met you. How are you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Great.
I love reading your posts.
Oh, you
thanks.
guys would get along fantastically. Yeah.
You get deep.
I like my rabbit holes.
What's up, Cole?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Merry Christmas to everybody. How are you?
Merry Christmas.
Oh,
I got you, man. How's the restaurant biz?
Oh, this week we packed up our Italian restaurant. We closed on Saturday.
Oh, shit.
So we
I'm
had
sorry to
to
hear that.
spend the whole week putting. Yeah, it's been coming, but the
Harry
lease was
Julio's is closed?
just for a short time. The building was sold, and so we had to move. We have a new one under construction, but it's going to be a couple of months until it's ready. So
St. Augustine has a nice tourist, market.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plenty of empty buildings. Really high rent, though. Really high rent.
Sounds good. So it's been kind of a shaky week, but we were open for 38 years in that location.
That sucks because I've never heard anything bad about that place, and I've always wanted to go, but I never make it down there. And
Well,
now
it's not that it was bad. I mean, it's like the building got sold, and they wanted us out because they're redeveloping and turning it into big condos. So it's going to be under construction for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So
that's happening
What city?
year.
Sarasota.
Oh, I was telling the wife today that I'm sick and tired of being cold, and I understand why old people move south.
Well, this is the time of year everybody comes down. Yeah. Get one little zap of the cold air and they're all down.
I'm a big
the holidays end. And then they get enough snow for Christmas and then they head back down south.
If I ever see snow again, shoot me.
Hey, Ken.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I'm in St. Louis.
It's everywhere.
It was 30, 20 degrees a couple weeks ago. This past week we had 50s, and even today we had 70, and then now it's 41, and it's just going to keep going colder for the rest of the week. And I'm old. My arthritis is kicking in, and I totally understand why people move south.
Yeah, we're full, though. If you could go to Texas or something, that'd be great.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, we're 80 today.
Texas has a lot of land.
So-
Go there.
Can anybody hear me? By the
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yay!
way? Sorry,
That's all
I
right.
had to reweave the internet. Yeah.
Everyone, just because no one knows him, this is Peregrine. His name is Peregrine. He is a Discord. He's our newest Discord
Nice to
mod. He's a very knowledgeable person. So
Awesome.
And mysterious.
Peregrine, where's all the cast?
Yeah, they're at my house.
Let's
It's
put you
almost
on
like
the
we're
spot.
the Brady Bunch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to put
Sundai,
you on
you're
the spot.
Alice.
But we want to hear.
Can I be Mother Brady?
You have to be Alice.
Graydon, you're Greg.
I'm gonna be Marsha.
Fair enough.
Cole, you have to be looking straight up.
Mm.
Yeah, and Graydon, you
Yeah,
look
there
you
you
look straight down. There we go.
All right.
And now they're
I look this way
oh,
to
like
see
the
George.
Brady Bunch. I get it. I get
I look
it.
down to see Sundai.
Really? You're up for me. So, okay. So, Peregrine,
Sundai, George.
So we have these. Who wants to talk
The
about them
notebook.
first?
yes.
I'm just
You
wondering
I want to hear.
why you named this the Notebook. Is it because
Because it's
Last-
cute. It's
I-
cute. We're because I'm Nicholas Sparks and we're all in love.
I'll be right back.
last time we streamed, you said how the Nirvana Silverchair episode was the most streamed episode of all time because of the name.
Yeah,
So I just figured this time you're trying to get all the rom-com fans. to
that's
click
what
on
it
the
is. By the end of this, one of you will be falling in love. I don't know which. There's already
Pray,
snow.
love, dig.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's already a snowy town, so we're good. We're
So-
hallmarking it.
I guess the question that I would have, George, before we get started, is this is the notebook that you were taking notes and you had witnesses, Brian, Andy, JJP was obviously there.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a thing that anybody can say you just created.
Yeah. So here's the story of how this happened. So before the meetup happened in Cleveland, I took a bunch of questions from the community, right? Like things they wanted answered. And I went to John's house and we were asking all these questions. It was me, John, Brian, Andy, Rachel was there. That was it. And we're asking all these questions and sort of just preparing, like allowing him time to think about how he would want to answer some of these things and how he would want to like interweave stuff. And throughout all of that, I was just making notes on things that were said, right? Things that we were going to talk about or whatever. And then John kept us at his house until 2:00 in the morning. And when I left this notebook sitting on his kitchen table. So there was a lot of point, like when we got there, we were kind of unprepared because I didn't have any of my notes. So there's some of the stuff that didn't really get touched on, but it's all pretty cut and dry. And I think since then, most of it's been talked about anyway. But yeah, that's what this is.
But that's why
I think the most
asked that.
important question is what did you have for dinner?
Oh, barbecue.
Paint us a picture of what are we talking about?
There's a barbecue place near John's house, and they went and it was Lee, his wife, and Rachel went and got like this big spread. It was like barbecue chicken and ribs and all kinds of sides and stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you actually expected an answer to that question, but that's what it was.
I just want to paint the background, paint the tapestry of all this.
There's barbecue sauce everywhere. Where like Andy's got it all over his face.
Things working in our brains.
Are there any stains on the paper that will be significantly for interpretation?
No, no, I licked them clean. It was good barbecue.
Was there any coordinates hidden in the barbecue sauce stains? Like there.
Yeah, but only back to the barbecue restaurant itself.
Oh.
How many pages are there? There's only two. There's 2 pages.
So have you had conversation with Brian and Andy after this? Because I know you were at one point wanted to have this discussion with the 3 of them.
I did. It's just
the 2 of them.
It's difficult getting 2 lawyers together. And then Andy's constantly on the move. He's like, I called him a couple of days ago and he was like, I'm in Greece. So getting him together is difficult. And me and Brian had planned on just going over all of this on the cruise, but then we got drunk. And the interview was kind of inebriated. So yeah, I do want to get what.
You know how I know you're lying is because Brian can't get drunk.
Yeah, we disproved that. Hard. We disproved that hard.
Conspiracy.
George,
Yeah.
Drink
George?
package.
I do think there is some mood that you can set now that you have, of course, all our mouths watering. And that is that I got the sense afterwards that you felt like this was him starting to open up in a way that he has not before. The whole fact that you were actually being able to sit down and ask questions and write them down, was that different than you had before? Because one of the things that the gift giver is saying is that this particular meetup was quite an opening up for John.
No, this is not that. So this is very structured, I want to make sure my words are very, very carefully chosen because I don't want to say anything that I don't want to say, or I don't want things to be taken out of context or what, because he was not comfortable. These notes were before he met searchers. So the only people he had ever dealt with were crazy people, you know? And his attitude didn't change until after the meetup, until he had that interview line that we set up was the perfect thing, because everybody that came through the internet line was super sweet to him and to his wife and very complimentary and very normal, you know? I mean, there were people with elf ears on, but they were very normal. Like, you know, they treated him very well. So he got to see, I think that just like in all communities, 99% of community members are just normal, kind people. And he had been dealing with the 2%, you know? So that, I think, is what opened him up and made him more receptive to trusting the community a little more and talking about the community a little more, talking to the community a little more. Because if you had noticed, before that meetup, we didn't really have much interaction from John, and now we've had a lot. Like I think the fact that he's selling his art to the community says a lot, because that's just something he just doesn't do. He does not sell his art to anyone. And then I don't know. I know he thinks of his art as like children, you know. He won't sell or display art that's not in a mat. He won't even send art that's not in a mat. Like, he's got a lot of weird, strange requirements, but he's never had a storefront. He's never sold in galleries. He's never done any of that. You know, he sells. The only time you have the ability to buy his art prior to this is if you were to catch him at like a convention. Where just like
commission him to do it.
He wouldn't do that. He doesn't take commissions, really. Like, unless you're like an author and you want him to paint your, you know, cover, he would do that. But I mean, we've had people in the community who are like wanting him to paint or wanting him to draw like there's a lady in the community that raises longhorn cattle, and she wanted him to draw like a huge longhorn cattle skull, and she was offering like $5 or $6 grand or something. But he's just like, no, I don't do commissions. So
where does he make his money?
He's on the cover of Aragon.
Yeah.
Like, it's just royalties, basically?
No, I mean, he makes money in books. He's an illustrator. He illustrates things, and people pay him for it. I think once you get to a certain caliber, illustrators tend to make a lot more money than you think.
He's making $1 million off the website, I thought. Wasn't that how it worked?
Oh, yeah.
There's some really good. He does talk about it a little bit on Muddy Waters, on that website that's for watercolor artists that he is featured on as well. He does talk about it some, and if I'm remembering correctly, like, he goes into once he realized how talented he is, I guess, if that's, you know, like how in demand he could be. He made a conscious choice that he wanted to keep his life small. Like, he wanted to stay in Ohio. Like, after he got like certain invitations to, like, there was one to like a school, like a colony in Ireland and things like that, like all over the world. He started becoming, like, at an early age, started getting invited to all these things. He just decided he wanted to just keep it small.
And I think, like, you think, when you think illustrator illustrates a book cover, you think he gets paid for that book cover, but you don't think, like, but he gets paid for that, then he gets paid for, you know, I don't know, however it gets distributed, but then also he gets paid in different markets too. So if it gets used in Japan, he gets paid there, and Indonesia and Nigeria or wherever, you know. There's a lot of different revenue streams. So That's where he makes his money, I guess. Anyway. But yeah, to answer your question, after, in a very long-winded way, after that line, he started easing up and being a little more comfortable. Just like with this new drawing that he released, like that wouldn't have happened if that meetup didn't happen, you know?
So cool. Thank you, George.
I didn't do it at all.
So I'm going to ask you this as the only guy here that probably wasn't at that meetup. But like, I know for rock bands, hometown shows are a really big deal. And because I grew up there, right? Like when Slipknot plays in Des Moines, Iowa, or, you know, Madison plays in Canton, Ohio, it's a big deal. And it seems to me as an outsider that the Cleveland meetup was like the penultimate meetup. Like it was the opus, if you will, of the whole thing. And do you think it's because it was Cleveland? Like Boston, I feel it, like even Boston's meetup was kind of, I'm going to use the word lackluster in comparison. Don't take that pejoratively, but you know, do you think because it was in Cleveland that meetup was so big and now he's doing all this stuff?
I couldn't get him to go. Like, I'm not going to get him to travel. He's not going to fly to New York for a meetup, you know? So Cleveland was really the only chance to get him there. To get him there.
I have a relevant question, George.
Sure.
We all know that it's a tragedy that it doesn't seem to be true that Byron left behind documentation of the locations. Has there been any intimation that John has made any arrangements or maybe told somebody or something like that?
No.
No. Okay.
Now, in fact, he specifically said he did not. And I don't think he's planning on it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, maybe not so much directly, but he seems to be wanting to at least indirectly try to affect the hunt, you know, in a positive fashion.
Yeah. But I think what Peregrine is asking is like, if John were to die tomorrow, wouldn't anybody have the answers to his paintings? The answer is no. Like even as the people he would be willing to talk to, like his family, they don't care. You know?
Well, I think I remember Kit saying something like that his dad won't tell him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he said that.
Kit says a lot of things.
It's true.
In a very quiet fashion.
My favorite Kit line of all time is like, yeah, feel free to take that however you like it.
Yeah.
Or like...
Well, I do have another relevant question,
Sure.
and that is that what's happening right now is that with the release of the preliminary sketches, or at least the first preliminary sketch, if we are to believe the GiftGiver's message, he seems to be trying to tell us in a occult or puzzled out way certain aspects that he does know about the puzzle. And so what's happening is, in a way, he's creating a puzzle about a puzzle. So my question to you is, does he have any experience in anything like that in the past?
Making a puzzle about a puzzle?
Well, just any kind of involvement in actually creating a puzzle.
John?
Other than taking the... Yes.
The secret?
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I don't understand what you're saying. So, I will say the only puzzle he's ever made is The Secret, and he is contractually obligated to never make another one ever again. That is specifically in his contract. He can never make another puzzle book. I think, are you maybe asking if, because he has a lot of experience hiding things, making puzzling images?
What I'm saying is that, is there any experience that he has had other than The Secret in terms of concocting some kind of puzzle? And I mean, I know Kit has done one, obviously. So I was just wondering whether or not he has any experience in actually doing his own puzzle making and not in collaboration.
No. Other than this. So John's painting style is explicitly to tell stories with an image, to tell a full story with an image. So he has to figure out a way to convey messages in his image. Like if you look at any of his paintings, like Becoming Human or Ecstaxis or whatever, however it's pronounced, they all kind of tell a story. So he has a lot of experience hiding messages with messaging, not messages, within his work, but he's never explicitly done any sort of puzzle other than The Secret, not even just for himself.
Do you feel like this is him trying to make up for some of the things, the shortcomings of where he realizes, looking back now at maybe he's online seeing people's thoughts of solves, etc., and hey, that should have been a little different or a little bit more on the line as opposed to away from the line? Is this maybe an attempt that he can kind of course correct?
I don't think he's trying to.
And BP's type of.
I don't think he's trying to course correct. I think he is trying to help. He has his own motive for doing this, and I don't know that I can fully explain that, so I'm not even going to try. But it's not a underhanded thing or anything. But I think he's genuinely trying to help. But I don't think he's trying to course correct. Because I mean, when I've talked to John, I've talked to him about some of the crazy stuff, and I mean, even he agrees you can't correct that. You know, there's always going to be people who are just off the deep end, and you.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there's a line that's discussed where they pulled back their ideas and said, "Oh, that would be too easy," or people will get that too quickly, and maybe that he has some perspective now. He realizes that he didn't get quite close enough to the line because it's way too far for people to. Maybe make those connections.
I don't know the answer to that.
Or there's too many opportunities to make 1,000 different connections.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question. I know he constantly says that these are easy, but then again, like on the Expedition Unknown, where he's like, it just says Boston right here. Like he thinks that's obvious when it's not. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm not him, so I don't know.
I can imagine to see the next image to get some frame of reference and context of what he's trying to do, or what's different, what's the same. But there's definitely elements. I mean, the owl and the 3 cubes are completely new elements that weren't or don't exist in the painting.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an obvious clue as to where we should start with that.
And I'm going to pronounce this name wrong all night. Mr. Peregrine. Is that correct?
Peregrine? Like the falcon.
Peregrine. Oh, gee, okay. I'm an idiot.
You can call me Perry.
We have the Maltese falcon and we have the peregrine falcon.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm sorry. I went to public school. Just to clarify, because you said preliminary.
You went to school?
I went.
Oh.
But you said preliminary drawing, and that was what my issue was. But these are new drawings. I just want to make sure you understood that.
I understand that quite well. I do believe that he's referring to them as preliminary drawings.
Oh, gotcha.
And I think we should respect that, because what I believe he's trying to do is he's trying to skirt any kind of legal attention, because by phrasing these as preliminary drawings for a future painting, he is saying that it is not a specific reflection upon The Secret. So that's why I call them the preliminary drawings. And we have preliminary number 1. There we go.
Do you think that it would be really helpful to Colby if one was found?
Oh, he'd give a shit.
I mean, he'd sell a shit ton more books.
Would he?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, because
only if there was another TV show. You know,
I think he would be more excited about waking up to some clearer contract violations on the part of people that he owns the contracts for.
Yeah.
That's good insight.
Good point.
Yeah.
Oh.
George, can you clarify that contract again? That's news to me. I never heard that before. So it is in his contract that he can never work on any puzzle book again.
Ever again. Yeah. Ever.
That seems like a very strange contract.
Yeah, John always said, like, the contract that he signed back then, he was young and kind of didn't know. not that he didn't know what he was doing, but the secret was sort of his foot in the door into New York publishing, and the contract that he signed then he would never sign again.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that, but even that sort of language, like I could see in a non-compete sort of situation that you wouldn't want him working on a rival puzzle book the next year, but to word it as
ever again.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think they went into this thinking that it was going to be a continual thing, you know, like it's not going to be, they were going to do a book 2, and then that was going to take off, and they were going to keep going, and there would be a series like comic books or games or some whatever, you know. Just didn't happen. Because I mean, even in like Joe Ellen's contract, God, you guys haven't seen that. I forgot. Even in Joe Ellen's contract, it makes mention of stuff like, in the back of the book, there's submit your own fair folk. You know, that Byron retained rights to those, and Joe Ellen did not retain any rights to them, and he was free to use them in any future works. In perpetuity or whatever that word is, and he meant there was mention of future games, books, movies, media, yada 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 yada. So, I mean, he had plans. They just didn't come to fruition.
Well, do you want to walk us through the items in the notebook then?
I can. So the first couple were all about Cleveland. It was all like, I was surprised when I heard it, but it's stuff you guys know now, that the first entry is JJP took photos. So he was the one that took his own photos in Cleveland. He took his art references. And that JJP picked the park system. He picked Greek cultural gardens. And the way he described it to us was the exact same way he described it in the meetup, where they were driving around and they were like, that's nice. Let's go there.
Sorry, can you say that one more time? So JJP took the Cleveland photos.
Yep.
Whereas
Byron just was making
other
notes.
11, he would have received Polaroids from the other locations. Okay.
Yeah. And he picked the Greek cultural gardens.
Picked the park system?
Well, they needed, he didn't clarify. I can't remember. I don't think he clarified that they needed a Greek, something Greek. They needed something for an immigration group. And John was like, well, we have these cultural gardens. Let's go check them out. And from what I remember, he said Byron liked the wall. And that's why they stopped.
But when you use the word system, what do you mean by that?
The park system, the cultural gardens, is a system of parks.
Okay, because when I read that, I was like, "Oh, do you mean the system of using parks throughout the secret?"
Oh, no, the system of parks. that system of parks.
Good clarifier.
You have to be very careful.
Good catch. That just saved you a year of your life, George.
The next was, he was very, very clear that from the beginning of this project to the end took only a year. That was it, from start to finish, 1 year.
So was this in the beginning or the end, or any idea what placement the Cleveland was?
I didn't ask.
Because there was some discussion online about the cask lids, maybe determining if they didn't pick the immigration group exactly as it was, or.
Yeah, but I think that could be a lot more fluid, because like no matter what you put in the ground, you just have to change a couple of different things, you know?
Well,
a couple of things in text.
Painted. The one immigration fair folk would have had to have been painted. The lid could change to 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
Or the immigration, or the maybe not the immigration, but the fair folk could change in the front of the book. Like, you could change the text to match whatever. I don't know. I don't know the answer, and I'm just kind of spitballing.
Well, we know the draft of that changed, right? When we saw the initial draft of the litany.
Yeah, but the main points didn't really change between the two. So I don't know how that worked. All I know is what I'm told on that one.
And it's Have we ever seen the Polaroids from Cleveland?
You've never seen the Polaroids from anything.
Oh.
It's interesting that he took those pictures and then he included those features that he took. It wasn't like the other way around, where BP was taking the pictures and saying, hey, put this in. He was
in Cleveland. Yeah.
Probably a little bit more.
Just taking his own.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that he was, there's one thing that he said at the meetup that I really think he misremembered, and that's about the Soldiers and Sailors Monument.
Yeah,
because he was saying that helmet was on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, but Soldiers and Sailors Monument is for a war that happened well before the Doughboy helmet was even invented. There's no Doughboy
maybe
helmet.
that pertains to another
Soldiers and Sailors Monument.
We've looked at that.
If you look, there's something Brian pointed out at that. He pointed it out after John had left. I wish he had pointed it out when John was still there. While we're sitting at the table of the Greek cult at the Cleveland meetup, we're looking out at the audience and then through the two pillars. And if directly in the middle of those two pillars, right across the street, is this weird window on a building that's shaped just like that fucking helmet, like the exact same shape. And it's just right across the street, directly in line with the wall and the pillars, and then boom, there it is. Brian and Andy especially was like, nah, it's that. Because like everything is right along this thing. I don't know. I think he misremembered that. I think he was thinking about another Soldiers and Sailors Monument. Like maybe for New York or something. Wherever else. I mean, there's a Soldiers and Sailors Monument everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Or just maybe just something to do with World War One.
Yeah.
Because that's what those were from. Doesn't have to be soldiers. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be that monument. It could be, I don't know. There weren't there World War One the oak trees that were lining the Liberty Boulevard?
I don't know. That's
It's a little they were World War One.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Another relevant question. In just passing references, has John ever referred to a painting by a ethnic term rather than a geographical location? Like, has he said the Greek one or the Swedish one or anything like that?
He called Charleston the African one. Excuse me.
Okay.
In your note, when you say JJP was working on the migration with Byron, what does that specifically mean? Is that Cleveland?
He just said that that they worked on the immigration groups together. He didn't necessarily like expand very much on that, but they were working on the immigration groups together.
But that was for the entire secret.
That was for the entire secret, not just for Cleveland.
Huh. Hey, can I ask a question? When you were having these discussions, did you get the opportunity to ask questions and follow up and kind of have any back and forth, or was it just
I wasn't trying to,
and you didn't interrupt?
I wasn't trying to ask many follow-up questions because this really wasn't like a pre-interview. These are the questions the community has. Figure out how you want to answer them, you know? And then I was just making notes on, okay, we definitely have to touch on this. We definitely have to touch on this. I have to make sure he words this way, that kind of thing. Yeah. The next one, the template already figured out. That confused a lot of people. But from my understanding, it was we have already figured out the template. The template is,
what does that mean?
It doesn't
what
go
does that mean, template?
It doesn't go any deeper than months, immigration groups, gems, clocks. Like the template of the secret, the template itself. We know what that is.
So can I ask how, in your mind, that relates to the GiftGiver organizational post?
I think just because we've figured out what the template is doesn't mean that we've figured out how to use it. You know?
Do you think that one of those elements is part of that compartmentalizing?
I think all of those elements are part of that.
Or I'm sorry, do you think there's one missing that we're not including as part of this template?
I don't think so. Because if we've already figured out the template, then we've already figured it out.
You got all the pieces.
Yeah. We got all the pieces. We just don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like that sketch really honestly to me kind of just like was like, okay, if it's going to be kind of a blueprint of how to use them, it's got the one central figure and it's got the 3 boxes, right? Like the 3-month items. And then maybe like repetitive, got like a lot of the same like bricks and things like falling in the background and things like that. So maybe that's what he's trying to tell us that we're kind of missing.
Can I add something here? Because the 3 in the Cleveland painting has always been the 3 points of the triangle. That's been the 3 o'clock.
Right. Yeah.
But now we see 3 blocks.
Yeah.
So
And
is
another
that 3? Yeah. So is that 3 casks? Do they look like very similar to casks on the ground, near the ground, in the ground?
I think
or is it?
I think that
Or
drawing.
is it? This is something that made me think about it. Is it 3 landmarks that we're supposed to notice?
Oh.
Is each one of those box representative of a landmark, and that the 3 o'clock on the triangle, that's 3, that's the month, that's March. But specifically in the foreground, way in front of, right in front of us, are these 3 boxes. They're not bricks. The bricks are falling different shapes in the background. These are 3 square cubes. So
I think you're approaching that drawing the wrong way. You're approaching it as if it's a secret drawing where there's stuff we have to figure out, when that's not the purpose. Like, the questions, I think, will be explained later. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I think I think as more of them are done, we will understand more about them. Like, questions will
Are
be
we
answered.
trying to understand his methodology, his way of symbolism, what his
I don't
use
know.
of symbols?
I don't know what he's. Excuse me. I don't know what he's necessarily trying to do. I think he's trying to give you like at this point what I think, and I don't know, but I assume he's showing you things that you already know, right? But in a different way, and he's saying, you know, maybe in the future look for things this way. You know, in future drawings, look for things that you don't know presented this way. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Well, the gift giver even says that you're being given answers to a test you've already taken, or whatever. Dare I say failed? I don't remember exactly the line, but
I mean, even just like the people hate it, but what I always say is, like, in art, some shit just has to be art. You know, some stuff is just decoration. So, maybe what's boggling our mind is just decoration, or maybe we'll find out more later.
We got to step up to that line.
Yeah.
Right.
But can I ask about something that seems to be graphically obvious, and that is that of the bricks falling from the sky, one of them seems to very clearly be the number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any working theories of that?
Yeah, so I kind of liked what Tony Pereira, and I'm going to butcher his name as well, the way he put the brick count of 7 of 9. And then I saw Rob's post earlier on the Chicago painting as well, trying to kind of come up with how the numbers work. I think that's what I think that hit the nail on the head for me. I think that's what he's trying to come up with, is just, I don't want to say keep it simple, stupid, but this is we're way overthinking sometimes on that. And I think Tony's post hit the nail on the head with how those bricks should be looked at. I think he's trying to say, like, somebody mentioned the number 1 Harley Davidson number. And then if you count it up and then count it down, I think it's a perfect analogy. He's got these bricks here. What do they mean? I think that's 100% 7 of 9 there.
My idea is a lot dumber.
Even dumber?
My idea is way dumber.
Oh, I love dumb.
Well, it's been 40 years that we've been staring at the secret paintings, and we don't know how to number those damn things. And if you're going to create a sequential series of drawings, you need to have them in order. So the first drawing having the number 1 in it doesn't seem so odd to me.
That's interesting. And a Harley Davidson one.
And a Harley Davidson.
Well, 7 of 9 is obviously a Star Trek reference. So
That's me. I'm sorry.
I also just wanted to one thing about the template to remember is that even if we know what the template is, that doesn't mean that we have all the information from within the template.
Yeah.
And there are
or how to use it.
what I've always viewed this hunt as there's a table of information, but that doesn't mean that every item in the table has been given to us. Some of them were left blank. And what we had to do was use information from others to fill in those spaces. So it's possible that we do know the columns and rows from our template, or the elements that compose the template, but we have not filled in blanks in them somehow. There are things that are still to be discovered or have been.
So that's why I feel like there's one or two missing that we're not including though. Like the zodiac, that is nowhere in anybody's grid.
The zodiac,
there, but nobody has an answer for them.
Yeah, there's been some cool ideas.
The strongest argument against the zodiac, though, that I've ever seen is that it always it overlaps months, right? Like it's always 2 months, or like it's a 30-day period or whatever, but it overlaps 2 different months. Whereas each puzzle is very succinctly dedicated to one specific month. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's another argument too that people forget, because like they forget the 80s. Like we were all kind of young in the 80s, but we forget how big the Satanic Panic was in the 80s, and the Zodiac was not a cool thing, you know, to include in something. Like when parents were saying the devil was taking over their kids for D&D, putting the Zodiac in your book was probably not a good idea. So, I mean, it was a big deal.
That's valid.
That was the first question people would ask him. What's your sign?
In the 70s.
Big deal. Oh, the 80s too.
And the 90s.
All right.
The 90s as well.
I'll just offer that it's one of the Ickles.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not even saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying there's pretty big arguments against it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's that box that's missing.
Yeah.
We just haven't filled that part of the template in.
There's a lot of potential boxes that I've been trying to fill for forever that who knows.
Yeah.
You look at the celestial bodies, you look at day and night, you look at chess, there's all these categories that this works for 7 of them, but you can't necessarily make it work for all of them.
Yeah. I can't stop thinking about Rob's comment on the 3 landmarks though for the boxes. I really like that. Like in the solved ones, are there 3 landmarks that just sort of not triangulate, but like maybe they just are like they tell you the city, or maybe they just kind of like so are there 3 in the solved ones?
Not in
Cleveland. I mean, Chicago had like the Bowman, the Angels.
Well, if you consider the cask as 3rd, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. But let's think about like Chicago. So you got the Bulls, you got the water tower, you got the Grant Park.
I'm thinking more of dig site. So you got fence and fixture and cask, home plate, light, and
maybe. I don't but I kind of like.
Why does it have to be 3? Like Chicago's or Cleveland. Like Cleveland's esoteric number, if you will, is 3, and so that makes sense there. Maybe in Montreal there's 1, right, or 2, that kind of thing, right?
Well, in verse number 2, there's that what is it? To the first young birch, past 3, staying west.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. It might just not be just in painting only. It could possibly be painting in verse, because like in Boston, he gives you like some Paul Revere, like like Paul Revere stuff, and then you've got Ironsides and you've got the ballpark.
Well, we've got a lot of 3s in verse 2. There's the 3 stories of Mitchell, there's the 3 who live there, and there's the past 3 staying west. I don't know.
It's a repetitive thing to get your unconscious working on the 3 pattern.
Yeah.
You got Socrates, Pindar, and Apelles. I'm intrigued by the fact that the use of the term wonderstones. I was working on the jewel section for the new wiki, and I noticed that the word wonderstones was actually used only 3 times in the book, and the 3rd time is actually in one of the verses itself, and that is once again verse 2. Yeah. No, that's in verse 2. Which I guess you want to say Milwaukee. I'm still kind of up in the air about that one, maybe being Montreal.
Milwaukee's verse 8. You're saying verse 2, but Milwaukee is verse 8.
Oh, well, okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking on page 52 of the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing verse number 2 in there is the 3 stories of Mitchell. So maybe I'm looking at things a little bit wrong.
That's the 4th page of verses, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking at somebody's Hunter's Edition, which...
Does the Hunter's Edition have the pages inversed?
Hunter's Edition has... yeah, Hunter's Edition's got the page numbers messed up. Sorry about that. Yeah, Stonewall's Door is on page 52. Yeah.
Maybe they put them with the painting number or something.
I don't know. Okay, sorry about that. I don't.
Somebody probably just screwed up their PDF. It's fine. I can fix it.
It's okay.
The simple answer is is generally the correct answer.
Somebody making the new guy look bad. That's all.
No.
None of these verses
I'm being hazed.
are numbered in the book, so I don't like going by numbers at all because they're not.
Me too.
They're not numbered.
Yeah.
So, but
or
but you also mentioned Wonderstone spelt differently in the book. Is it with a U sometimes and an O? I can't remember. It's been a while.
So is it?
I don't know. But puzzles are repetition. I mean, you have to set the pattern. Puzzles are patterns, and you have to set the pattern. And then twice could just be a coincidence. And really, like 3 times, it's a pattern.
I've also
template's 12.
It's never been called a puzzle, too. So.
A what? Oh,
This is sounds crazy.
Our patterns.
we talk in these methods, but like we just say it. Nothing's numbered and nothing is calling this a puzzle. So we have to be careful when we put those labels on it.
For sure.
We're 45 minutes in. We've gotten through 3 lines.
Part for the course.
I have to
all right.
agree with Graydon though. Because if you do call it a puzzle, then that really opens the door for all kinds of things. All of the geometry and everything. Yeah, you're right. So I think a hunt is probably the right terminology.
It's a treasure hunt, and that treasure hunt that doesn't exclude it from using puzzle elements.
Sure.
But it's different from it being called a puzzle also.
Yeah.
So the next
line 4.
The next line has 3 exclamation points, and I want to emphasize it was because John couldn't figure out why people still questioned this. The general cities are correct, and he was like,
"Why
how
say general though? Why not say the cities?"
I don't know.
Because they're not all cities.
Are we close in one aspect?
They're not all cities.
I can't. I don't know why the man uses the words he used, but that's what he was like. How do people not? He was like between the front of the book and the latitude and longitude coordinates, and some of them have the damn city in the painting. How do you not know that? He was pretty that's crazy to me that we have to say this. So
I would agree.
Yeah. After that,
Disagree.
I'm canceling my ticket to Galveston right now.
Which city in North Carolina is it in?
Probably the one that's in the painting. He wanted, because I brought up the portholes in Old Ironsides, like how there's a big porthole in the painting, but Old Ironsides doesn't have portholes, and he was like, it was a grainy Polaroid. He's like, I didn't do any research, I just thought it had portholes. So that was that.
That says so much about. He cares more about imagery. He's telling a story. He wants you feeling like you're looking out a porthole. He's not trying to recreate the actual element from that ship.
Yeah, and it goes with on the next page, the first line is overlays. I'm not that creative, because it was specifically asked him. People are constantly doing maps and overlaying parks and tree outline shapes and all this stuff to this paintings, and I was like, and they say, you really can project onto these, you could trace and then paint over, and he's just like, I'm just not that creative. And he's like, look, he literally used the example of Ohio. He was like, look at Ohio in the Cleveland painting. That's not the shape of Ohio, but it's Ohio. It's got the roads. It's got, he just, so overlays are no. That doesn't, that's me skipping ahead.
But George, he says, I'm not that creative. Maybe that means that it was something that Byron told him to do, just wasn't his own initiative. Yeah, I like that look, George. I like that.
That's what you gained from your life earlier. You just
I'm used to interpreting for the crazies. That's all.
It's all right. Used independent painting. We all know that's San Francisco now. I mean, let me back up. Are there any questions about the general cities?
Well, we talked about that last week. If you're still on a city that's not one of these 12, there is a site for you to kind of work through it, but you're not moving the puzzle forward.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if nobody wants to talk to you.
Hey, Ken, you don't know shit. You don't have a cast.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Ken does have a cast. Didn't somebody send you a cast recently?
No, actually, nobody sent me a cast.
Oh, man, I'll send you
Darn
a cast.
it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I actually, I got a lot of stuff this Christmas.
I haven't sent out any of my Christmas presents except for my Secret Santa. I have like boxes of stuff.
So you guys laugh. My cards went out Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, that's awesome. Terrible. So like all of my stuff's still sitting on a table ready to go, but I haven't gotten to a post office.
That's when you change them to Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just cross it out.
Happy holidays.
It's Christmas somewhere in the world.
It's Easter soon.
Christmas is a state of mind.
There is a relevant question, and that is about the San Francisco painting, because one of the things that we do have learned from the GiftGiver is that was the one that was modified. And I'm curious because, George, I think you're the only one who's seen it in person, but I know that there's a crease across it.
It's cut.
Is that crease?
It's a cut. It's two panels put together.
But is it a straight line, or is it like a mistaken fold or something like that?
No, it's a straight line. It's like he painted to the top of one panel and then just put another panel down and continued painting.
So that might imply that it was modified to harmonize with the New York painting if the cut was across at the top.
Yeah, to make them bookends of some sort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to that note later.
Okay. In about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Let me double tap on that for a second. So you have the main rectangle of the painting would have been the original, correct?
Yeah.
So the moons and the mountains and the scenery in the background were added.
So this painting was cut. This is the only painting that was cut. Like it started out as a big piece of canvas, or not canvas, but board, and was cut because it fits into a very specific kind of frame. So don't discount that this painting was much wider before they repurposed it.
Oh, wider.
Yeah.
Landscape versus portrait.
Maybe not landscape, but just wider. Like Montreal is a wide, normal size painting, whereas San Francisco is thin and tall. So don't discount that the original canvas was wider and they just cut it narrower and made it taller.
So I'm just thinking.
That would sort of imply that that the mountains would have been the painting and then the figure was the thing that was added, correct?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it doesn't seem like that would be the case if you're adding.
I don't think the figure.
Where was the cut?
I mean, that makes sense as to why there's like a Chinese lady with bright blue eyes and China white skin, like that figure has never made sense for the Chinese painting, but it does when you're like, oh, it was a personal thing that was just kind of transferred over. So that figure was probably always there. It was just probably drastically adorned differently.
So kind of like where the horizon of the water is in the top of the panel. I'm looking at it now.
I don't know.
I make no sense composition-wise.
I would just like to point out that when John started these, he had only recently returned from Paris, where he had spent the year studying in the atelier. And one of the things that art students do in an atelier like that is imitate the style of other classic painters. So this very well may have started out as a study, at least of the landscape, in the style of Da Vinci. Yeah. And perhaps it was built upon that.
Yeah, what is it? The one with the landscape that looks similar to this, Madonna and the Rocks, yeah.
Madonna of the Rocks, yeah.
Which I think we're going to come to that note shortly, too.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm waiting for.
The next line is, we already know this, there's two obvious clues in one painting that we've missed. Now, whether or not we've actually missed them or he just doesn't know that we already know them is a question. A valid debate question.
I'm
So,
going on
let me
record that they're in the Houston painting, and I've already figured them out. So. I'm joking. I'm joking.
If I had to bet, and now let me preface that I was completely wrong about the personal painting being Milwaukee.
You were.
If I had to bet, it would be New York.
Yeah, but you might be wrong.
Well,
I think if it is New York, I think it's the castle. I think.
Are we betting if he's right or wrong?
Well, I don't know, but is that in the painting? Though, would he say that the castle is in the painting?
Let's let George finish that thought.
I don't want to finish that thought.
Please finish that thought.
No,
I have
to now.
Did John tell you it was New York?
No, but if I had to bet, and having said that, I was wrong about Milwaukee. I would bet it's New York.
Why?
I just would.
Maybe it's a similar situation where he's just adding the piece on the top. He did that to both of them.
No, that one's completely. It's just full. It's
Do you believe that the church is one of those two things, George?
I do believe that the church is one of those two things, and it's one of the reasons I think is New York, because that conversation was sort of.
But didn't John say they were like very obvious that would blow your mind if you realize them?
Yeah.
But he also seems to have been hinted that you would need a very specific possible photograph to connect. But to me, those two things don't go together.
But
how could it be a very obvious thing that would be like, oh my goodness, how did I miss that? But also be a very specific.
Well, it could be like the quote in Boston, where it's a very specific quote that's very difficult to find, but as soon as you find it, it tells you both Boston and the north end of Boston. I mean, it essentially gives you a location. So this could be a very obscure photograph that would be very hard to find, but as soon as you find it, you go, holy shit, that's where the casket's buried.
Or something hugely popular back in the 80s.
I don't know that it would be hugely popular back in the 80s, because then it would be easier to find, you know? I think what we're looking for is going to end up being a painting somewhere, or it's not going to be like a physical building. It's going to be like a picture of a painting or something.
Do you think it's a one?
Go ahead, Rob.
No, do you think it's a 1-to-1 replication of what we're looking at, or more of a symbolic?
No.
Like
it looks
many things.
It looks like this church, was cut out of something. Like when it was transposed on that painting, it looks like it was cut out of something.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, the simplest explanation for it is going to be like the summer palace, the Russian summer palace cathedral onion domes that are like literally the building is that color. Like that's the color of the building.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like the onion domes.
This is
that's a Russian castle. And then there's Castle Clinton right there.
This is one example of, and this might sound snarky, and if it does, I'm sorry. I don't mean for it to, but this is one example of why it's difficult for older hunters to talk to, especially brand new members of the community, because we have John Palancar telling us what this is. This is a very specific photo. And now we're like, well, maybe it could be this other. No, it's not that. It's a very specific photo that we need to find. You know?
Why not the World Book Encyclopedia photo of, which is, it really is, like there's a photo in the World Book Encyclopedia of the onion dome.
Can you cut it out?
Yeah. They even have like the cutout of like the, like.
Then it should be really obvious of what it is.
So the next question would be, is this an indication of a dig site or just an indication of an immigration tie?
No, I think it's, I mean, you have Castle Clinton right there. That was the original immigrant. Like it was Ellis Island before Ellis Island was Ellis Island. And then you have, and it's literally named Castle Clinton and it's right there. And it was an island. Like, you know how like it kind of looks like it might be the shoreline of Manhattan. Well, there's those 3 islands that are there currently. Well, there was a 4th one and it was Castle Clinton before that was filled in to make it Battery Park and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, it could be a castle is the clue. And then you have Castle Clinton like right there. Me.
I just want to reread John's quote just so we're all clear on it. He said exactly this. There are two clues in a painting that nobody has mentioned that they should have been able to. They are super obvious. Maybe it's like the Boston thing with Jason. You have to have a verifiable picture, though.
Oh, he did say verifiable picture?
He did say that. Those are his
100% talking about the church. 100% talking about the church. Because he told Brian and Andy, because we were talking about, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about the things being covered up. We were talking about the gray square, and he was like, it's almost like you got to have an actual photo. And we were like, what? He's like, you got to find a photo. Like, oh, okay. So then 100%, he's talking about New York.
So what's the other thing?
Is it possible when they superimpose that, could they have used that photo on the glass and then just covered it in that weird color later?
It would have to cut the photo out.
Color.
They just cut it out with a pair of scissors.
Cut it out and stuck it on the glass when they took the photo.
They could have, used something over the top of it. I don't know. I don't know the printing process. I don't know how that would work.
It just, if that's how they did it, that would make sense, because then John would have actually had the photo.
The photo.
So if you found that photo that was on the glass, it would be exact.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there should be no question about that church. There should be once you find it, there should be no question.
It just bugs me that he said maybe it's like the Boston thing with Jason, because that is the opposite of that.
Super obvious.
Well, I mean, John thinks that's very, very obvious.
But he also thought Boston Pops was pretty obvious too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think to an artist, it kind of is. Like between Boston Globe, like he painted a globe to illustrate globe. He painted a bubble not popping to illustrate popping. And to him, you just have to put those two together, Boston Globe, Boston Pops, whatever. I think to an artist trying to tell a story, that is kind of obvious. But to us trying to work on a puzzle, it's not so obvious.
I guess
I'm not going to play charades with John anytime in the near future. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
To me, it just means, and it's not very likely it's a dig spot, and it's more likely it's here's a clever way of saying New York.
What, the church?
Yeah.
That would be like, I mean, because you've already got the Statue of Liberty. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. It doesn't mean they aren't there.
That's true. I guess.
Is the
that are there.
red outlined rectangle the other thing potentially?
I don't know. It's one of the biggest things in the paintings. We have no idea what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people guesses, but we have no idea.
Are they both in the New York picture?
Well, if
is that the spitball?
If he's referring to two things in the meetup, if he's referring to two things, one of which you need a photo for, and then he's telling us that you need a photo in the New York painting, then both of those things are logically going to be in the New York painting.
Maybe it's,
and he did say in a painting.
Maybe it's the map of the surf on the bottom, similar to what Charleston having the map of the two rivers with Charleston in the middle.
Well, he said there are two clues in a painting. That doesn't necessarily mean from that wording that it has to be in the same painting.
No. It was pretty clear with us they were in the same painting.
Okay. It could also be that the elements like maybe connect to each other. So maybe understanding what that blue castle was when you combine it with something like Times Square. Maybe he doesn't know that we've figured out Times Square. When you combine that with Times Square, it gives you something. Like if the answer was something with hard and you put that together with Times Square, and then hard times ended up being the answer for the Dickens clue or something. Like it could be one missing element that we need to combine with another element that we already know about.
I mean, the only times he's ever talked about difficulty in a painting was with New York, right? Where the thing was just too hard with the bubbles. And that's been years and years and years ago. So,
right.
I mean, if there's going to be tricky shit, it's probably going to be I don't know. Makes sense to me. Do we want to go to the next one?
Yes.
Yep.
There were no
Yes.
real names for the paintings, only city names.
Okay.
So then,
Well,
Soul
now
of
that-
Cloud is just is an irrelevant title or whatever it was from the San Francisco one.
Who was it that brought
was a
up
private title.
that was probably the title for his private painting? Somebody
Yeah.
brought that up. Was that you, Graydon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So since he worked on that prior to The Secret, that was probably the title for his whatever painting he
Although
was working on.
that's very strange, especially if the original was, as Peregrine mentioned, likely a study for Madonna of the Rocks. The Souls of Clouds doesn't really connect as much as the as Poe mythology with the Chinese culture does. So it's hard to
Maybe
say.
the painting was originally an Asian figure, and so that they figured, hey, let's use this for that.
The other theory I've had is that it's simply a very quick and dirty metaphor for the people of the fog, which is one of the things that people call residents of San Francisco.
But again, then if that's the title of the San Francisco painting, it sure doesn't speak to what we're saying now, is that he didn't name any of the paintings.
But that's one of the paintings that he displayed at a later point. And it's quite possible that he simply wrote that in the back because he needed to put it on display. But I agree, it's a stretch. It feels like a stretch coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
They didn't call them the May painting, the January painting, the July painting. We called them the city too. So
it'd be a great question to ask John, if only someone could do that, and ask him, what does the Souls of Clouds mean? Why is it on the back of the San Francisco painting? Maybe
George has his number. Send him a link.
Well, he
Maybe
might
he's watching this week again. Yeah.
Let's see if I can get him in trouble again.
Next line.
The things taken out gave too much away. We talked about this in the last Sunday.
That drives me crazy.
Yeah. I get it for St. Augustine, because that fort just gives away
Yes.
St. Augustine. There's no puzzle left with that fort.
But
Not the fleur-de-lis.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Well,
No.
It makes sense because, to me anyway, because the symbol is on that fence right where the leg eater is.
Yeah, but
It's
the leg
used
eater's so
everywhere.
obscure. The leg eater's so obscure that and until you found it, you wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying?
But it's obscure to us. Anybody who's walked that street has walked by that a million times.
No.
Never noticed it.
Yeah, long-time residents in Montreal, like even Phoenix
That's
himself. Phoenix himself, as soon as that was found in Montreal, spent the entire weekend driving around specifically looking for it before he could find it.
There is one leg eater in Montreal, and there is a million fleur-de-lis. Putting the two together, if you told people this symbol, this leg eater symbol, is in Montreal next to a fleur-de-lis, it wouldn't even necessarily help you find that. You can see fleur-de-lis everywhere.
It's possible they didn't know how obscure that leg eater was, because it's similar to other things, right? Like it's similar to the candelabras at the Boston Public Library and the Brooklyn Public Library. It's similar to a lot, but it's not exact. So it's possible that they were like, okay, well maybe this candelabra is everywhere, and we need to specify which one it is. So we put the fleur-de-lis in there, and then they were like, no, maybe we don't want to specify it's this one.
Plus, they were in a hurry. They were in a hurry to get this done. So, I mean, that thought process was like they probably didn't do their research to see how rare that leg eater is.
Yeah, but
that may be true.
You got to think too. You got to think that they weren't going there because of the leg eater. The leg eater is a lamppost out front of the Mount Stephen Club, and so probably the history behind the Mount Stephen Club and things like that had more to do with anything. And just, I mean, in itself, the leg eater is quite unique. Not speaking even of how few there are in the world, but I think that they were looking into the Mount Stephen Club, and the leg eater became a visual byproduct of their research.
I think that the thing that might substantiate what Cole is saying is the fact that I've never seen another clue on the order of the minutiae of the leg eater in terms of any visual aspect going forward.
What do you mean?
I mean that if we accept the leg eater as a specific clue, it's a very, very small, easy to overlook detail. They're very small. You can hold them in the palm of your hand. And so that would be a kind of clue that I'm not seeing popping up elsewhere. I mean, maybe the symbol in the Sullivan staircases in Chicago, but really nothing else I've seen has come to light that is interpreted that specifically of such a small physical detail. And that being the case, I'm kind of inclined to go where Cole is going right now.
It seems he might have used another logo of the Mount Stevens Club, similar to what the Fairmont was. Why choose the Alligator?
That Montreal puzzle is unique in several ways, not just because it's external of the United States, but like it has no outdoor visuals. It has no, you know what I mean? Like there's so little to it. And I think that in itself, and so like that in itself is sort of a macrocosm of the smallness of the leg eater, right? Like it is a very minor, tiny little detail and physically quite small. And so like, you know, like that's got to be telling you something. Like there's so little to actually do in this puzzle, right? And to you just got to find this one small thing and you're basically there kind of thing.
We're going to get to that in about 5 more notes.
So let's ask the question of, if you are researching something and then you come across this tiny little physical detail that would reassure you that you're on the right track, what would that be the case with this particular thing? And with Stevens, he is one of the people that created the Canadian Railroad. So I honestly believe there might be some other reason that you are researching the railroad itself that would lead you to this, and that would be kind of an indication saying that you're on the right track.
While I have 2 people who are talking about extensive research into a building and its history, let me ask you this. Given the fact that John Palancar just sort of was like, hey, let's go to the cultural gardens. Oh, the Greek one's cool. Let's bury this there. Knowing that that's how the Greek cultural gardens were chosen, and knowing that Sean Kelly was in a dormitory directly across the street from the Mount Stevens Club, why do we not assume that the exact same thing happened with the club? That John was like, that Byron was like, I need somewhere in Montreal, and Sean was like, dude, you should go to this club. It's got cool candelabras.
I kind of look at that.
There's a lot of great things inside too that he could have used, stained glass and all the ornate things.
Well, there's
I still hope that there's an indoor cast somewhere.
Yeah.
I kind of look at the fleur-de-lis the opposite way than you guys are talking about. But like, if you look at that painting, you immediately zero in on the fleur-de-lis because you know what it is. You know, like that is the immediately like the first recognizable thing in that painting. And then so, I mean, to me, I feel like that's probably maybe where they were going, instead of like that one single fleur-de-lis helps you too much. Maybe it's like the fleur-de-lis being instantly recognizable as, and then I agree, like a lot of people are going to think NOLA for that, or New Orleans for that,
but also like confuses the immigration group, and it confuses the flower.
Yeah,
it confuses those 2 things.
Yeah,
because you all of a sudden associate it with French.
On the topic of obviousness, I think like because you can see exactly that in proximity to it in real life. You know what I mean? Like you can stand there and look at that leg eater and see the fleur-de-lis right next to it, right? And maybe when we use the word obvious, we're using it in the wrong placement, if you will, because rather than saying it'd be too obvious as a whole over the puzzle, it's when you find this thing, it becomes so obvious where the cask is, right? Like when you can see exactly this, you know, and then of course following the verse and all the other things around you, you're there. You know, there's literally an X in the picture right above it, right? And it's like if you look at it from like a I don't want to use the word bird's eye view because that's too internet age, but it's like putting something on top of something else in an image a lot of times implies that it's behind it or something like that, right? So maybe it would, in their opinion, they're not saying that it would be overall too obvious, but once you're there, because it is very hard to find, but once you're there and you see that, it's so obvious that that's where it is. You dig?
But could you also find the city, I think, with the fleur-de-lis? I mean, I think you totally could, because you're talking about like the symbol that is French royalty, and then you're talking about like a city that is literally named Royal, that is, famously set by the French.
But there's French things all over Canada. You know what I mean? Like there's fleur-de-lis here. I went to school half an hour south of a purely French town, and so I mean, like fleur-de-lis are pretty common across Canada.
Yeah.
What's that?
Maybe it's more of a link to NOLA in the sense that the Bienville was from Montreal.
I mean, I think if you're American, you think fleur-de-lis, you think New Orleans.
Yeah, totally.
Or St. Louis.
No.
St. Louis.
If you're from St. Louis, you think so.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I do have to bring up the issue that we do believe that he intentionally obscured the fleur-de-lis because he thought it was too much of a giveaway, or that it could be confused with New Orleans. But at the same point, we hear that when he found out that Euclid was the same, the name had been changed, he was excited because he thought that would be more difficult. So I'm not quite seeing why he would be motivated to obscure the fleur-de-lis, because that kind of ambiguity was what he was trying to introduce. So why did he actually remove
confusion?
ambiguity?
Is different. Confusion is different than misleading somebody.
But also remember, they thought these were going to be solved in a year.
Yeah.
That these were too easy.
But let's not change his words. John said that these were removed because they were too obvious.
Yeah.
So we can't get off on a tangent and start extrapolating too much from that, I don't think, because we don't know. My issue with it is that I don't understand how the fleur-de-lis makes it more obvious. Other than what Sundai is recommending, is that if they had forgotten about New Orleans in the rush of this, which is, they might have just never even connected that the fleur-de-lis would be confusing for New Orleans. They might have not so much that the fleur-de-lis is next to the leg eater on Drummond, but that the fleur-de-lis could have given away the city too easily. Maybe it was too obvious of Montreal.
This might be one of the things that we'll just never understand, sort of in the same vein of we don't understand why he thought Boston was obvious.
I think what would be very interesting with what Graydon is saying, because I think you've made a very valid point here. An interesting data point would be how many other books was Byron working on in that 1 year period? Because it's quite fascinating, because we keep thinking that there's this degree of subtlety and rethinking and so on and so forth. And the fact of the matter is that it seems to me there were a lot of very pragmatic decisions that were based on how they developed this.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
ADHD.
I do feel like anytime this comes up, it's important to point out, just like we were talked about on the last stream, that people put a lot of emphasis in the fleur-de-lis, but don't pay any attention to what it's covered up with, and it's covered up with a very specific shape. And sort of in the same way that church is cut out in a very specific way, that shape that covers up the fleur-de-lis is cut out in a very specific shape.
So does that speak to it being a landmark, the fleur-de-lis being a landmark, as those squares are a landmark, a city icon, let's put it that way?
But if that, like Cole can explain his theory that it's a map for the Stephen, but if your goal is to make the dig spot less obvious, would you cover up a flower that's on the fence in front with a map of the building that the leg eater is at?
No.
Why not?
From a puzzle perspective, I think,
because you're killing a bird by throwing a bird at it.
Wait, do you think that's a map of the Mount Stevens Club? Because to me, it's an image of the Expo 67, the habitat,
The hotel or the apartments.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm more towards that. Although I like Cole's idea as well.
I think take one thing that you're saying, okay, let's give these two clues for this dig site that is the fleur-de-lis and the leg eater right next to each other. And you're like, okay, the fleur-de-lis we can't keep because it's too instantly recognizable, and then let's do it with this more obscure clue of the shape of the building or the lawns. I mean, I think from a puzzle standpoint, that makes sense.
Either way, to know the answer to either of those two clues, you would need to be in the exact same spot. It wouldn't matter which one you chose.
Yeah.
No.
How many more lines do we have, George?
Not many. The rest of them are easy.
The Rembrandt.
Let's see. Paintings. Let's see. Oh, John did not have the verses. John did not see the verses until the book was published. And it is important to note that John's book is reversed. The back of John's book is in the front of his book. But yeah, John did not see the verses until the book was published.
And then
do you say why his copy is like that?
I assume it's like a proof.
So the verses were done before he did the paintings, I'm assuming.
That's not what he said. He said he had never seen the verses until the book was published.
No, that doesn't mean that he doesn't know the elements of the verses, that he didn't see them in front of himself. A BP would have said, hey, put 10 of these and 13 of these, or for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything either way. It just means he had never seen it.
I'm just trying to, what is the fact? Is the fact that the verses were done before or after the paintings?
Probably concurrent, I would think.
Or during. Yeah, it could be during.
We know that BP had to have gone boots on the ground and figured out what he wanted to do with the puzzle, and then sent this to John, right, for the paintings, I would think. And then he could finalize the verses that.
Well, take Cleveland, for example. They went to the site, they took pictures.
But they were together, so that doesn't count.
It's not a good example. Well, just use it as an example. If it seems to me that the verse would have come after they took those pictures.
But Cleveland isn't a good example, I don't think, because it's the one we know is different.
I just had to point out that there are two separate questions here. If John had gotten a production proof in which the field guide was in the front, that was just a decision that was being made.
Yeah, that's.
And at some point, what happened is that Byron or someone within Bantam Books changed their mind and decided that they didn't want to make people read through so much, and so they flipped that. It has nothing to do with the production process.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that because Byron knew that he could tweak the verses, and probably because he was putting them off, that he was quite, in favor of letting John do his thing and then filling in the gaps with the verse.
I mean, we do have examples of him being fed important things, not necessarily having to know what line is important, but being fed important things. Like if we walk Chicago, we know there's a line in the verse, and then immediately there's something in the painting that's right behind it or right around it, right? So you have M&B, and then you have the fountain, you have Congress, you have the Bowman, you have all of every step along the verse, you have something visual to confirm you're in the right place. But that doesn't always follow in all, it seems to get less and less and less the farther along you go, which makes sense for him saying they were rushed and they put less shit in.
Yes.
So he doesn't necessarily have to know the verses in order for him to get Polaroids of things that would be important along the verse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, BP would have to say, include this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if he only
knowing what the full sentence or the full verse or the whole poem.
Yeah, and I mean,
the important part of what needs to be included.
I mean, if you imagine your communication via fax machine with an artist or whatever, or via mail, you would send them 4 or 5 Polaroids. That's not a whole lot to work for. Probably everything in those Polaroids is going to get included. So if you're walking that line in Chicago and you take a picture of the fountain, and you take a picture of the Bowman, and you take a picture of the fence and fence posts and all of this stuff, it's you send them 5 Polaroids, they're probably all going to get included.
And this is where the concept of the overlay really kind of dies a death, is because if you take a Polaroid of that time and then you fax it, you can't even tell how many fingers somebody has on the hand.
Yeah.
So that idea of interpretation that's down to the point of Google pareidolia, it really just doesn't make any sense at all.
Wait, all of the Polaroids that John saw were just faxes of Polaroids?
No, I'm sorry. No. They were probably mailed. I don't assume they were faxes. Okay. I know the sketches. The sketches and things he sent were faxed. but I assume the dossiers, the same sort of dossiers that Joellen received, were in, you know, manila envelopes mailed or whatever.
Yeah, but then there's nothing stopping Byron from sending a tourist brochure or a map of the city or something in that dossier along with the photographs.
No.
Maybe maps you can kind of use as an overlay. I mean, you're doing a park shape if it's in the map.
But he didn't do overlays. He was very specific about
well, overlay, that's not really an overlay. It's just, you know, it's like drawing the outline of the state. Yeah. It's the outline of a park from a map.
Yeah, but you're going to get into some weird...
Like, right, you look at the 2 or the 3 parks in Boston there that are supposed to be in the collar.
You mean the ball fields?
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm just saying, you're looking at a map and you're saying, okay, I can sketch that. I'm not overlaying that on my painting and sketching it. I'm just, you know, going from one to the other and making it figurative. The other thing I was going to mention was that there was, you know, theories about how the verse ties to the image. Is there something specifically, whether it's a number that's in the painting, is it a letter, is it something in the verse to pair to the painting?
And I've always maintained that there's a line in the verse that matches something. Just like in St. Augustine, the verse talks about tall trees. It's the only one with a tall tree. You know?
Well,
so is that a specific directive from Byron to JP to say include a palm tree?
Maybe.
Or it even could be the other way around, where it could be you get the painting and then Byron is able to write the verse or like tweak the verse.
I mean, I tend to think it's more accidental than that, in that Byron's writing about specific things that he's seeing and sending Polaroids of things that he's seeing, and then John is painting the things that he's seeing and writing about. You see what I'm saying? Like Byron is writing about a fence post and taking a picture of the fence post to John, and John includes the fence post. So now there's something from the verse in the painting, but it's not necessarily because they had to include. It's not because of some template. It's just because that's the clue, you know?
But what Sunday's saying though is that Byron could have tweaked the verses after seeing the final productions of the paintings. So with something like Roanoke, we don't know, did Byron tell John to paint the outline of the island in a certain spot in the painting? Or did Byron get the painting and then say, ooh, the land near the window is a very nice poetic way to refer to what I see?
There's no way to know.
I mean,
we seem to know that John was not painting based off of the verses, because he's telling us he hasn't seen them. It doesn't preclude Byron from telling him to do something, but we know he wasn't working off of the verses. Whereas Byron,
I think you'd have to go to the lines that are tied to something in literature to then tie it into the painting to have that.
The land by the window is probably the best example of Byron tweaking the verses, because in order for him to know that ahead of time, he would have had to have told John essentially how to lay out that painting. You know, he would have.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he could have just said,
put a window with
the shape of the island, and then once he gets the painting back, then he already knows that that's what he wants. He may have already had like a different line or something like that in the verse, and he could have tweaked it to say the land by the window instead of.
But that either way, he's tweaking the verse after the painting's done.
Yeah, which is super easy. Like, it's so much easier to tweak the verse to the painting ever would be.
But that's what I said, and then you were like, no, you're wrong, he could do it this way, and then it was just more complicated way of doing it the way I said.
Okay, rewind. I don't know, maybe, sorry.
But no, I think what I'm getting at is we agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also doesn't necessarily give the painting away, because there are windows in multiple paintings in this. Just like when you say seek the columns, it's obvious later that's Cleveland, but there's also columns in Houston. So there are some repeated elements in the paintings that maintain the ambiguity of the pairing.
Yeah.
I want to point out, just camping on what Graydon just said, is that there's this particular logical trap that we can fall into. And that is that what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to say, let's be pragmatic. Let's pay attention to the reality of the production. Let's put it through the filter of 1981, so on and so forth. But in the process of doing so, it's quite possible for us to connect new dots, tiny, tiny dots, but they're new dots. And there's that degree of projection that we can fall into. And for example, what I just did with the, connecting the fax machine to the resolution of Polaroids, it's a logical trap, and we really have to be careful because we think we are operating without connecting dots. But honestly, there's just as much room for projection in this mindset as there is in others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like there's no way to know.
It's also part of what's so great about working in teams and doing group chats, because it really helps people to check each other's ideas. Whereas when you work by yourself and get deep down a rabbit hole for hours, you lose a sense of those things.
Yeah.
Don't post on the feed.
I'm gonna go grab something to drink, but I'm gonna leave you with this to argue about. The next lines are: paintings do not share clues. The cities are self-contained.
There's no argument. Can we
talk amongst yourselves?
Talk amongst yourselves. No, I mean, because like that's weird, because there's overarching themes. There's things that are similar between the paintings, but
then he kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit on that when that question was asked in Cleveland.
He didn't hem and I'll just mention he did not hem and haw with us.
So on one,
I'll go get the text. I'll go get the text.
I was going to say, on one of the older podcasts on the Cleveland picture, somebody asks him about what the tail means on the Cleveland picture, and he says, "I can't talk about that yet," which to me made me think, oh, that tail means that there's something going on with another puzzle solve. Here he's saying the exact opposite, where it doesn't matter. And if you remember, John at the Cleveland meetup was like, I really don't remember what that tail was.
Yeah.
So what is that in the zodiac? Isn't that like a what is that sign?
Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
The horseshoe with the curls on the end. What sign is that?
Horseshoe with
the. See,
I'm so not zodiac.
Aquarius or Libra. I think it meant, Ken, I think it means that he was in therapy at the time for the trauma of having been hit by a horse's tail. And in fact, I think the three cubes are that he believes that horses should be fed 3 sugar cubes. So that's his priority number 1. Yes, exactly.
Well, it drove me bonkers for a while until I heard the Cleveland meetup. And then, because I thought 100% that pictures had different clues for different cities. And here he's saying that is not the case, and it drives me bonkers. But I mean, if he's saying that, we got to take him at word value.
Can I give you his word value while we're all talking here? I'll just read the quote.
Yeah.
This is what he said. Each painting does not hold clues for a different city.
Yep.
They are linked in a way, but not directly. Not anything that specifically directs someone to where our treasure would be. Not for another painting. They are pretty much their own person. There is a linking that came about as happenstance, and we said, let's do that, but it's a non-factor.
Yeah,
but it is a possibility, but
that's just thematically.
That's the next note. The next note is the paintings are linked like bookends, but it's a non-factor.
Okay.
Did we?
Well, I guess we can forget about it.
No. Maybe that means that if you solve New York, you'll be closer to solving San Francisco, or vice versa. Perhaps that's what it means.
That's a good way to look at
it.
Well, but I mean, he even says it's a non-factor. So what are bookends? There are things that hold a collection of things together, right? If you want to get really fundamentally basic. And so, I mean, he has already said that doesn't matter. So I don't know that, I don't waste a lot of time thinking about that personally.
All right. Well, I guess, are we going to the next line? Sorry, I missed the conversation, but
I know how we're trying to focus it within the Discord, and that is that there are some people who believe that that there's some kind of meta theory, and that if you have to draw from one point to the other point, and those people are being, not as welcome these days. But there is the other people who say it's quite possible that because these are artistic people and they don't always know exactly what they're doing, that there might be some kind of tendency to carry over or some kind of predilection or so on and so forth that maybe they do not even know about. So when there's a theory that uses another text or some kind of continuity to underscore their theory, that's taken seriously. But if the theory is that you take out the rules and you substitute your own rules, then that's something else.
Yeah. I mean, I could get behind them accidentally doing just because they're inexperienced, but the more we learn about how this book was created, the less likely there was any kind of plan. The less likely there was any sort of overarching goal or message or whatever. Everything kind of seems to be thrown together.
Well, JJP uses the word happenstance. So it's almost like something started to emerge by coincidence and they decided to run with it.
Yeah.
But didn't JJP at some interview talk about there might be a way to connect all 12 like on a map or something like that to like would you go, he said, like, would you go from north to south or would you go east to west?
I don't know. But the more I talk to him in the later years, the more I look back to previous conversations and just go, what are we talking about? Like, what are you trying to, I think in a way he was so untrusting that he was speaking, not necessarily trying to be super puzzling, but he didn't know, he didn't trust saying something outright. So he was talking around something and trying to give you a nudge in the right direction. Maybe not trying to tell you what to do, but trying to give you a nudge in the right direction. And it just didn't work. I'm
just suggesting that if there was a way to geographically order them, that the bookends acting as the two primary gateways for immigration from east and west,
it would make sense.
Has some use if there was a way to.
But that's a good point, George. Back in the day when he was doing the interviews, doing the podcast, doing the Josh Gates, he was nervous about our community and what to say.
Yeah. And he was also nervous about Colby and what to say. He didn't know what he could say.
Yeah.
That's why he would say things like, you're in the right geographic areas, or Josh is right about the Lions, It's just vague statements that you can kind of, I don't know, you can take however you want, as opposed to later on just being like, the cities are correct.
Sorry, can I jump back for 1 second? I should read my own notes more often. This is to our prior conversation. JJP said at the meetup that he didn't know they had covered up the fleur-de-lis.
Yeah, it was a surprise to him. He didn't realize that.
I'm misreading his comment completely, because if he said that the things that we covered up, I guess those could both be true. He could have.
I don't remember. This was at the meetup when he said that, right? Because I'm getting my times confused.
I'm reading my transcript.
He didn't realize that was covered up until the night before the meetup, because we pointed it out, and he was like, "Oh my god, I forgot about that."
So then his statement that was because they were too obvious is invalid for.
No. It followed. He's like, I forgot about that, and then the rest of it followed.
He forgot about it, not that
he forgot that it was covered up, not that he didn't know. When he showed it on Expedition Unknown, he had forgotten that part was covered. We were talking about how we knew things were covered up, and we were talking about how, because he didn't know Kit had released pictures of the New York painting, like back when Kit was 13 or whatever. And we were like, we know that the church isn't there because Kit put out this picture of the painting. He was like, what? And I was like, dude, he was like 13. He didn't know. Just people were trolling his Instagram. He had no idea. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and we know the fleur-de-lis was covered because it was on Expedition Unknown. And he's like, what? And I was like, they took a wide shot of the Montreal painting and it's covered up by this thing we called the blob. And he was like, I forgot about that. Yeah. And then it followed. It was like, well, why were they covered up? Oh, they made things too obvious.
But he said,
but I do, Graydon, I do want to point out that he would not have been involved in the covering up. There, back in 1981, 82, there was this film called Ruby Lith, which was a dark red adhesive film, and you could literally call into the business that was creating the separations and tell them specifically, cut out this part, so on and so forth. So it is possible that it's actually very unlikely that he was involved in that covering up.
See, I don't know that. Forget. I don't know that for a fact, because I know he said at one point he was with the printer because he wanted to make.
I just forgot.
He wanted to make sure that the printing of the images was correct, but I don't know if he was there for the photographing of the paintings.
So Donnelly, R.H. Donnelly is the largest printer in the United States, and they are in Ohio. So I can very much believe that he actually went down there to see the proofs coming off the page.
Yeah. And like, he's so, like, my thing about the photography is he's so protective of these. I don't know if he would ship them or if he would just drive them to where they were being photographed.
What I was saying about that, though, was more to speaking to, if he wasn't aware of it, him being able to speak as to the motive for it not being there changes.
It's not that he wasn't aware of it. He just forgot that it was covered up when it was on Expedition Unknown.
But that's not what he said. He said, I didn't know they had covered up the fleur-de-lis.
Oh, did he say that in the meetup? Oh,
that's his words in the meetup. I didn't know they had covered up the fleur-de-lis. So what I'm saying about that is that, and he could have misspoke, and maybe George, what you heard him say the previous day could help with that. But this is the challenge with all of this is, but if he was saying that the items that were covered up were because they were too obvious, he could have been solely speaking about St. Augustine. He might, like our whole discussion about the fleur-de-lis, how does that make it less obvious? Maybe that doesn't apply. Maybe possible. He wasn't talking about the fleur-de-lis. Maybe he was talking about the Castillo, and then we don't know why the fleur-de-lis was covered up.
And we do also have to point out that we don't know that the Castillo is the only thing that's covered up. I maintain that pair in Charleston does not look like his work. It doesn't look like it at all.
That then makes that statement all the more plausible, because if he's speaking in plurals, we need another one.
And there is something behind that pair. And it's the only painting like we don't have access to, so we can't.
So mystery solved then. They didn't cover up the fleur-de-lis because it was too obvious. Maybe Byron later on did decide that it was not helpful because of New Orleans or something.
Maybe it was confused, yeah.
Which makes more sense than it being obvious.
Okay. Next. There's just 12 casts.
Hey, George, quick question. If we're starting at hotels as a theory, what would St. Augustine's Hotel be?
Casa Monica. Especially in the 80s. It would only be the Casa Monica.
Where is that?
It is on, it's right next to the Plaza de la Constitution. It's right downtown, middle of downtown. Right.
Is there anything iconic there that might show up in the painting?
That show up in the painting? No. I mean, there's nothing from the painting that's there. But everything iconic about St. Augustine is there. Well, the fort's right down the road.
Was Flagler a hotel back then?
Flagler was not
college.
Flagler College was not a hotel in the 80s, but Flagler College is right across the street from the Casa Monica. Casa Monica was owned by Henry Flagler. There's a really interesting story about how the Casa Monica came to be because Henry Flagler screwed over the previous owner. It's an awesome story.
Just a sidebar came to me. I don't know. Thanks.
But I mean, it's right downtown. It's in the middle of everything.
George,
yes.
Quick question. Is there any Civil War connection in St. Augustine?
Not really. We didn't have much Civil War stuff down here. I mean, we kind of did, like, and we had resupply routes.
Have to be Civil War?
Well, because Byron Preiss was a big fan of the Civil War.
Boston is American Revolution.
Yes, it was. But
Brooklyn's American Revolution.
That's true, but we do have the record that he's a big fan of the Civil War. George, clear speculation. What do you think was the reason why Byron selected St. Augustine?
I mean, besides being the oldest inhabited city in America, Spanish immigration. I mean, St. Augustine was a hub of immigration from Spanish to French to English.
Did we have any evidence of him going there before, or him wanting to visit, or something like that?
No, but we also don't have any hint of him going to Roanoke.
But those two have historical significance, and the other 10 are big cities with book fairs.
Yeah.
So immigration also the first colonized.
I mean, other than folk. I like Roanoke and St. Augustine to me are the two biggest like immigration. Like they're no does kind of. If you're going to talk about English immigration, you're going to talk about Roanoke. If you're going to talk about Spanish, you're going to talk about St. Augustine. And kind of, if you're going to talk about the slave trade, you're going to talk about Charleston. But the rest of them are like...
If you're going to create a story about cultures coming across the waters to North America, then those two locations make a lot of sense.
And I guess Chinese in San Francisco goes along.
I'm just thinking that there are kind of two kinds of cities. They're the ones that he already was going to or had a reason to go to, and the ones that he sought out specifically for the theme. And I'm trying to make that demarcation. And one of the things that I did see was that there's some things that he's familiar with through his interest in the Civil War. So just trying to see it through that filter, that's all.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of research on that as well. Charleston is also a major city for the Revolutionary War as well. So
it makes sense that he would Frankenstein this together because we have lots of evidence of that in this as a whole.
Well, there's the field guide itself. There's a whole theme of making war in the front of the book.
The hard thing about most of these cities is they're all big cities that have been big cities for a long time. They've been big port cities for a long time. So they all have kind of something to do with a war in some one way, shape, or another, you know, especially once you get into the southern cities in the Civil War. I mean, Charleston,
good point.
Charleston, New Orleans, not necessarily St. Augustine just because of how south it was, but I mean, they're all going to have something to do with the Civil War.
But it could also be as simple as he looked up immigration in the World Book, and these cities are the ones that popped up.
Christopher Columbus.
I can't go to Puerto Rico.
What was it? Savinelli was.
Where did Christopher Columbus go? Was it Cuba?
India.
And wherever.
He went to Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, I think.
I was educated in a really, really bad private school. Do you want to talk about
I'm going to sign off now. I wanted to just say thank you so much for letting me participate. It's been great. It's been 2 hours, but I feel like we really have dug quite meaningfully into some of this text. Also, I want to point out that I think this is Cole's last broadcast or podcast for the foreseeable future, and I just want to thank him so much for his contribution.
Thank you.
Will you? Can we twist your arm to stay on for the next line? If I just one more line.
Please.
No pressure.
No pressure.
If
you have to go, you can. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
And then you can go.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Peregrine.
Okay.
Sorry.
I would say just hit him with the line.
I'm going to hit you with the line. The next line is Rembrandt hangs stuff on. And this requires a little bit of a story. He was talking about themes for paintings and how sometimes or not themes, but subjects of paintings, and how sometimes the subject of the painting is important. Like Rembrandt, sometimes the subject is just something to hang stuff on. He could not stay.
He was like, screw that answer.
That's rude.
But we know Rembrandt, right? We know Rembrandt's Montreal, so Rembrandt's obviously important, and we pretty much know why.
Yeah.
I miss Peregrine already, by the way.
I know. He's such a nice guy.
I really love his voice. He's like,
he was cool.
Perfect voice for radio to like on late Sunday evening when you're driving on the highway and those. What was that show with the guy with the cosmology and stuff? What was his name?
Carl Sagan.
Not Carl. No, the alien.
Paul Harvey.
God. The AM.
Yes.
Oh shit!
What was that
I
guy's
can't
name?
remember his name.
Coast, yeah, Coast to Coast.
Yeah, Coast to Coast with Art
Bell.
Art Bell.
Yeah, Art Bell.
Art Bell. What a voice! No, but he has such a calming voice. I wanted to listen to him.
So just to give him props, has basically written the wiki, the new wiki that we're doing. He's basically done all of the work. Like I've had we set as like a team effort to do it, and I set it up, and then I had a bunch of shit happen in my life all at once, and he has taken over and done a great job. And we also forced him to mod Discord.
Boy, he's got his hands full on Discord.
Yeah. I mean, he was legitimately like, we've had this one user that he keeps getting banned and he just keeps coming back for some reason. And he came back and it's just like the third time Peregrine's like, this dude's back. Can we do something about it? And I was like, I just made him a mod or made him an admin. And I was like, you do it. He's like, all right.
So,
Anyway.
So getting to that question, I mean, obviously we know Rembrandt. Are there other parts of the paintings that that main subject is that sufficient or
well, there's Grant. There's Grant for Chicago.
Yeah.
What's Boston?
The
Witch.
Maybe.
Obviously, the
Yeah,
witch.
the witch,
Is there a story like Paul Revere is mentioned in it, and there's the American Revolution ties and the whole city and the tour?
The witch connection, other than Salem Street.
There's no other than Salem Street. There's nothing for the witch.
Well, he said you mentioned that there are subjects.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but he said some are important.
Subjects meaning a person or a.
I would assume whatever you would think the subject of the painting would be. Like St. Augustine, the subject could either be the mountain or the rider, like whichever. Probably.
But if you're specifically saying Rembrandt is the subject, then that is a person.
No. He's saying some
historical person.
He's saying some of the figures in the painting are important. For instance, Rembrandt is important. The one like based on Rembrandt is important, and then some are just simply to hang things on.
But it still says that there's a subject to the painting.
There's a subject in the painting. Paintings have subjects. Drawings have subjects. The thing in the painting. The person in the painting.
I took that line to mean like the Last Supper, how everything is symbolic. You know what I mean? Like he's like some things are symbolic and then some things are just there as like compositionally to support other, like hang other things on.
I mean, but we have two very clear examples that he's using. We have Montreal, which is a painting based on Rembrandt's self-portrait.
Yeah.
We have Roanoke, which is just a figure with shit hanging off of it. I think he's making two very clear distinctions. Some of these paintings, like the subject is important. Some of them, like Rembrandt plays a role in figuring out part of this puzzle. And some of them, they don't play as much of a role. It's just the shit.
Well, for Roanoke, is it Francis Bacon? Could that subject be Francis Bacon?
Or maybe Roanoke is just shit to hang stuff on. There's no subject.
There's literally hanging.
Like I think we have a different idea of what subject is, and when I hear an artist,
I think it could be both. I think what I'm interpreting from what you're saying, it could be both, because in the Rembrandt case, that is a historical figure. It's a person. It's a subject of the painting.
It's a subject of a painting.
He's hanging the immigration ties and the city ties on that.
But when an artist talks about a subject, he doesn't talk about it like the subject of a book. When an artist talks about a subject, like the subject of the Aragon painting is Aragon. It is a painting of Aragon. It's Aragon is the subject. The Castle Hat painting, the subject is the Castle Hat figure. In the Roanoke painting, the subject is the guy, the medieval scarecrow.
Let me propose one thing.
If the subject in Roanoke is a quintain, then it's literally something to hang.
To hang shit on, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What if Chicago is Louis Sullivan? The subject is Louis Sullivan. The immigration is connected pretty plainly. He's an architect who built Chicago and made skyscrapers, things going up high.
Then Grant Park makes no sense. You just bury it somewhere where there's some Sullivan shit.
But the subject does. And in the context of what's in the painting, it makes a lot of significance.
Grant Park makes no sense.
Grant Park makes no sense if Grant has nothing to do with it. I mean,
Grant
Park makes a lot of sense if Grant is the subject of the painting. But if Sullivan is the subject of the painting, then somewhere near a Sullivan building would make more sense. Because
Grant
Sullivan
Park
buildings
the period building's right there.
If you have a Bowman in the painting.
Oh yeah.
But why do you need the subject to double mean?
Shit, man. You got Sullivan's signature design in the painting. So why have Sullivan as the subject of the painting? And
I'm not saying
the painting just actually looks like Grant.
I mean, he's a historically significant figure of Irish descent and built Chicago.
Cool.
Made Chicago what it is.
His signature design's in the painting, so he's not left out. Why do it twice? Why do it twice?
They're clues. They're clues to who he is. If you don't have that in there, what's your significance to say that is Sullivan, other than that specific identity through his design?
Are you saying if we don't have the symbol associated with Sullivan, then but we do have that. So why do it twice?
I mean, it's a confirmation that if and this is a big if it is a subject of the painting of this hunt is Louis Sullivan. You would need to put that, what's it called? That design, the rose design, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. And so we do it.
That would have to have
the Sullivan patch.
The Sullivan patch, yeah.
The design.
We do have that.
Scrolling. You would have to include that.
If
you don't include that, it could be any. It could be that's his unique trademark that identifies him specifically as opposed to any other architect.
Okay.
Well, what if what you're saying, like, what if, Rob, if it's like, I see what you mean, like, Chicago was or especially in that time period, known as like the leading city of architecture in the U.S. Like, it was kind of this thing, and then it's also known as the Windy City. So what if that's why he has the architecture on his head, kind of thing? And then you've got like the Sullivan rosette right there with it. And so you've got the wind, you've got the city of architecture, you've got Grant, like those sorts of things.
Let me ask this. In the past 10 years, there's been a lot of shit that's been released about this book. A lot of people have made comments. John especially has made a lot of comments. Joe Ellen, Ben, they've all made comments. Have they made any single one tiny comment that insinuates that there was really any fucking thought that this is complicated in any way, that you need to know
this
any
is something
history.
you wouldn't know. This is something that Byron Preiss would only know about. Like, would he reveal all of this intricacy about how he's creating the puzzle?
You think Byron Preiss sent John a picture of Sullivan and was like,
but the intention of why he's creating the immigration story and why you're supposed to discover and find out about the city or the historical significance of this whole culture, the whole Irish culture in Chicago. I don't know. It's not something that's, hey, you have to go that deep for.
I mean, I think I'm confused, because in the beginning we were talking about subjects of paintings, and now we're talking about the inspiration for immigration.
The subject, I'm saying, in Byron Preiss's mind, to create this Irish immigration and create a story that ties to it, that this subject could be Louis Sullivan, that this image is about Louis Sullivan being what Irish immigrants were building Chicago.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm just saying you can take that and you can do that with Sir Francis Bacon as a subject for Roanoke. There's a couple.
Okay.
Or you could hang some stuff on a Rembrandt Dutch tied to a weak Dutch immigration tied to a weak Dutch city. Because Montreal has 0 Dutch immigration.
But that may be why he made that the subject. Just to be like blatantly, this is our Dutch picture. And that's why the Dutch immigration works on this painting. I hope I'm explaining that right.
Yeah, it almost has to be if they're trying to create immigration ties in a weak immigration tie location. Like what else? What else is there for that one?
Cleveland would be another example of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Houston would be an example. Weak immigration.
Yeah, for sure.
Freaking Houston. Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always maintained these immigration, they don't make any sense. Once you get to like half of them make sense, half of them don't. Russian does not make sense for New York. Italians does. Italian doesn't make sense for Boston. Irish does. You know, Irish doesn't make sense for Chicago.
But again, this is somebody who put together this puzzle in a matter of a year and just were throwing shit together and trying to do that. So that's why I think we got Dutch there and why we got Italians there and vice versa.
Yeah, but if we're making all of these mistakes, and not really mistakes, but if we're making all of these, like, if we're stretching it that much to do it, like if we're making the puzzle and we're stretching immigration that much and we're doing it because we don't have time and we don't have time to prepare all of this and we don't have time to come up with a plan, then we don't have time to come up with a plan. And there's no like overarching huge, there's no depth to this.
But it's possible that there are cities that have very strong subjects. So, I mean, I'm subject in the term
I
of person.
agree.
And there's others that don't, or they have other value as immigration significance.
It could be just as easy as John describing the painting process. In the beginning of this, they focused a lot on certain things, which is why some make sense. San Francisco and China, St. Augustine and Spanish, Charleston in Africa. And then they started running out of time.
Yeah.
And they were like, shit, where can I put one in New York? All I got left is Russian.
So what I'm taking hang stuff on means what that stuff is the symbolism of immigration. He needs to hang some of that immigration stuff on to
I don't think he's
painting.
saying that. I think he's saying he needed elements and he needed to make them artistically interesting, so he needed to hang them on something. He needed something to display elements and make them make the art make sense.
Yeah, I think like when he says, you know, sometimes the subject is just something to hang on. It's the same way like when Freud said sometimes a fucking pickle is just a pickle or something like that. But like you say, like they all have fair folk in them, right? And they all have, you know, and you know, to Rob, like in a way to Rob's point, they have like hanging things off of them. It's not what they're hanging off of that's important, is what he's saying. Like JJP is saying, it's what's hanging off of those things, right? And what they're doing.
Yeah. Hanging some symbols, some symbolism of whatever it is that he's trying to do.
Well, like
not necessarily.
There's been stuff in the past that the Roanoke has movement and there's something you've got to do to it. And in order for that to happen, you have to have something to put all of those elements on.
Yeah.
Freaking dervishes.
Yeah. And I mean, that also makes sense with the GiftGiver thing about the, like, when is a P? Was the spoon important? How would you know it's a P without a spoon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what,
and that's where the immigration comes in, right? The immigration gives the context to the puzzle. So
it like conversations like this are cool because I think one thing we can at least agree that we're seeing is like these GiftGiver things didn't make any sense in the beginning, but once more stuff starts happening, you can kind of see it. They're kind of coming together a little bit to make a little more sense.
So
we can only hope.
Well, so my question, and you aren't going to have the answer to this, and we kind of we joked about it last week. are we expecting a sketch every year around Christmas?
I would say it's more than once a year. But so John has been pretty regular about things. Like he generally releases stuff every 6 months, and I'm hoping that's what's going to happen at the very latest.
Wow. You say 6 weeks or 6 months?
6
what did
months.
I hear? Oh fuck!
Because he generally takes a break. So he'll do stuff around. He'll do stuff around Christmas, and he'll do stuff around July.
That's only
I'm
6
quitting.
years.
I'm quitting before then.
If I can push, I will push
Paul,
to get it done quicker.
Come on over, man.
It could change though, because like recently, I think he's enjoyed knowing that people appreciate his work, you know, and people have shown that they appreciate his work.
Well, we got in trouble last time though.
By appreciating
what happened there?
We didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
No, I hopped on like right after.
Oh, with the phone call? That was just coincidence. He wasn't watching. It was just coincidence.
No, I think you bring a very valid point. I mean, we got the picture, we got the sketch, and then gave it to the community, and the community looked over it and came up with a billion ideas of what this means and what that means. That's something that I think has been lacking with this puzzle to an extent, or to
validation.
This hunt. And to have that validation and have that. I'm trying to think of the right way to word this. These aren't going to be solved by one person anymore.
No.
And so I think that I might come up with a clue, and I might share that with Cole, and Cole will see that and go, "Oh no, that's not what that means. This means that." And that's
why it'd be cool.
What's that?
You know what would be cool? Is if people posted stuff and some particular person clicked the like button for something that was. You're getting warmer because we don't have the write-in option. We don't know if it's so.
I think he's at that age where he's like, fucking computers and AI and da 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 da. And I get it, So I don't want to feel like I've got to go and I gotta like this, I gotta like this, I gotta like this, and I guess that's as I get older. I don't know.
You guys know he's not watching the group, right? He doesn't have Facebook.
He totally watched the group last week, and that's how we got in trouble.
Well, we're on YouTube. He watches YouTube.
George, can you reread the Rembrandt quote again?
All I wrote down was Rembrandt - hang stuff.
But when you said it the first time, you said
some of the subjects are important, like Rembrandt, and some of the subjects are just to hang stuff.
Some are just there.
So why do you think Rembrandt is important?
Other than the immigration group, I don't know. Other than the fact that the Rembrandt self-portrait matches that painting so well. I have no idea.
The art heist, that museum, that city.
Yeah.
What was the art heist?
That was in Boston, right?
No, that was in Montreal.
Was it Montreal?
Yeah.
No, both.
Okay.
Isabella Stewart Gardner was Boston.
Okay.
But the museum, the Beaux-Arts Museum in Montreal is just a matter of blocks from Drummond. And it's where there was a famous art theft in the 70s, right? I think not that far ahead of The Secret. And one of the paintings that was stolen was also a Rembrandt, just like the Isabella Stewart Gardner. So if a Rembrandt was stolen from a museum in the Golden Square Mile, close to there,
was it that Rembrandt?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, that would be very convenient.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Stewart Gardner was the Storm at the Sea of Galilee, and then this one was, I'll find it. I should know this. Art heists are kind of a secondary fascination of mine.
Is it because you're planning one? Should I lock my doors?
I want to be
Motion
6.
I already stole that painting
6.
when I was there, George. That's a forgery hanging on your wall right now. I have the real one in Manitoba.
I was wondering why it was in crayon all of a sudden.
Didn't you notice that one has the purple square back over top of the Castillo?
You still have my favorite secret painting memory. When you were like, "Where's the alligator?" and I was like, "Hang on," and I got a dry erase marker, and your face when I drew on that was like priceless.
Damn, Ken, how many cats you have?
I got two, but this one is ADHD, and he'll jump up for 2 minutes and jump down, jump up in 2 minutes. His name's Lucky, and then I have Ray Skywalker who will pop up.
So the art theft was in 72.
All right.
But it was famous.
The Rembrandt painting was landscape with cottages.
All right.
It's never.
Where's the museum in relation to?
It's like 7 or 8 blocks from the Stephen.
Yeah, all that stuff's pretty close.
We've only got two.
There's no.
We've only got 2 lines left.
Oh,
well, we skipped one. You skipped the previous.
What about the page 3 you told us?
Oh, I skipped that one. Secondary art has clues. So yeah, so he was when he was describing that to us, he was describing how it's really difficult for an artist to work very heavily on one subject and then move to another and elements not transfer over. And he specifically, he was like look for broad things, right? Like if you're drawing, if you're focused on Houston and you're drawing a secondary photo, you might include something like a space shuttle, because of Houston. He was talking about Perard's back of the book drawing with the space shuttle for Warner von Brownie or whatever. He was like it broad things. Nothing. He was very specific that it was nothing that would blow open the puzzle, but broad things carried over.
Like the map of Texas in between those ferries.
Yeah.
That's on page 10, right? On the passage.
That eerily matches the verse in a crazy.
Are you
way.
talking about the passage, the one with the things, the?
It's in the center of four alike. It's in this. It's in the negative space between the 4 ferries.
I mean, there's a lot of there's also the
some of them that are 3-winged.
The eagle sign that's in the children's zoo of Herman Park. That's in the passage, the outer edges of the passage.
Yeah, we need to do an episode on the passage, George, because I've got a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over. We've never really dove into it with anybody. We tried once, but it gets but we should do it.
But I like the secondary art in the very front of the book is the fence in Montreal and the Montreal guy sitting on the fence.
Yeah. Well, so we talked about the fence. I don't think it was at that meeting. I think it was before. It was like when we were doing the interview for the documentary. We were talking about that flyleaf page and how there was stuff in sort of in this hidden, and I was like, yeah, it says Boston right here in the hair. And he was like, yeah.
But that dude's sitting right on that post where the leg eater would be.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's just a lot of little stuff like that. Is it stuff that blows things open? No. Is it stuff you got to have a microscope to see? No. But it's big thematic things.
The museum in Montreal is 3 blocks from the leg eater.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's all like even Mount Royale or whatever.
But is that coincidence or is it?
I can't see
a hell of a coincidence.
Especially since the dude went to school there.
Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah, it can't be. And maybe
what other immigration would there be for Montreal? I mean, did he just say
English and
French?
Well,
let's pull Dutch out of my ass and make it Dutch?
Based off of Boston, like you could pick any neighborhood. Based off of Cleveland, you could pick any neighborhood in any major city. Every major city has a neighborhood that is the Russian neighborhood or the whatever.
Yeah.
And if he's an art guy and he grew up at that time, he would know about, or JJP would know about that museum.
So it was only 9 years before.
Yeah.
So like in the, I don't know if it's in the passage or one of the other ones, it mentions the Catterskills, the Alvin, I think it's in the passage. That's upstate New York. So like the Catskill Mountains.
Like near Buffalo?
Not that far up. No, it's, an hour or 2 outside of New York City. But it's not way up in Montreal. It's much more New York than it is Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's real close. I mean, it's an hour from the border. It's not too far.
And it's an island.
I just think the Rembrandt's got to have some other significance, though. Yeah, got to hang some stuff on it.
So the next one was he confirmed.
There's nothing hanging on Rembrandt either. There's nothing. There's no clues in that painting.
There's some hidden stuff, and you got the Golden Square Mile, the Leg Eater.
You've seen that painting in.
But he was. Which one?
Montreal.
I will not say. He where was it that he?
I was just going to ask. Do you think there's things that we're missing in the details in the background of that?
No.
Mustard color, or
I can't.
Sometimes it looks like there's some little scrapes and scratches and look like they could be hints and clues.
I can't
remember
things. Where the quote for Montreal and Milwaukee came from. Where was that? Give me a second.
And also the shades of black in that really maybe they didn't make it through the printing process so well that there might be things in there that we can't see.
There's actually, for me anyway, and I'm psychotic. So in the Montreal painting, there's a lot of stuff that I think is being missed. I've taken black lights to it. I've taken, I have old 3D glasses, and I can use the red side eye and the blue side eye. If you use the red side eye, and this is my homework assignment for all of you people out there. This is my Ken Cooley winter gift of the holiday season. It's the holiday season. I'm trying to find a picture here. But if you take a 3D glasses and you use just the red lens and you use it on the Montreal picture, you can clearly see the word justice in his hair. People will disagree with me all they want, but I promise you, if you take a look at it, you can see it.
Is it justice or Jesuit?
Well, it's important. It's important to note that the gift giver did say the last finished, and he specifically called out Milwaukee and Montreal, did not have many visual clues.
So this is a bad. I don't know if we can pull that off here.
So it's essentially saying that in those pictures.
That's where I'm talking. If you guys take a red 3D glass and you look at that, I assure you all that hair disappears and the word justice pops right out. I know it sounds crazy. You guys are thinking I'm nuts.
Does it say?
Can you put that up again? Can you put that up again?
And this is an old picture. There was an older person who had this originally. Oh, sorry.
Ken, you look like George right now with these glasses on.
Yeah.
If it says education on the other side of his head, then we have a big problem.
Yeah, no kidding.
Try these too.
So I have a couple more of those, but I won't get into. But I assure you guys, I have blown up pictures so that I went to FedEx and did that. Just take the 3D pictures. There's also a dragon in it that is more prevalent when you see it. And the reason why that I think is there is because in Montreal, they have the Chinatown, but they also have that the yearly dragon boat races that have been very popular down there. That's my Ken Cooley Christmas gift to you all. George is going to go pull out his 3D glasses any minute now.
Nah, I'm going to go along with it.
Have you guys done the magic eye on them?
Magic eye? But there's a few different things out there that, and the reason I was doing all that is because I forget a while back, but I grew up with Mad Magazine. So a lot of the folding and a lot of the 3D imaging and stuff like that, that's one thing that just kind of, I haven't done it with all the pictures, but with Montreal, I was such a psychotic human being. That's where I found the word justice. And what I think it means is they're talking about the justice statue on Mount Royal. That's for all you Montreal types, that's my Christmas gift to you all.
Ken Sylvie Roy wants you to message her.
Who?
Sylvie Roy.
Oh, Sylvie Roy sent me the most
hold on.
gift ever.
Yeah, she sent me a.
She's from Montreal. It's pronounced Roy.
So
Roy.
Because you guys don't.
It's pronounced Wa.
You guys don't English correctly up in
No,
Canada?
no. It's just
No,
like
it's French.
Yeah.
It's French, yeah. It's like the goaltender.
Sylvie sent me the most beautiful painting and sent me an Arthur quote, and I just it really broke me up when I saw it.
Yeah.
But I will message you a little later. You can think I'm nuts, but maybe she wants her gift back now.
She is one of the ones that I want to convince to sell her prints on 12 Treasures.
Oh my God, do it. Just do it.
Beautiful stuff. I've been trying to get Violet Soy. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Oh yeah.
To do her stuff too. And then Sylvie's stuff is amazing.
You should talk to Tony.
So I don't know what I could get Tony to do. Because
anything.
Because
he's pretty talented.
Yeah, he's amazing. But with Joellen and John being so opposed to AI, it's like, oh, what could I'm just trying to think, like, what could we do?
But they're opposed to their images being used for AI.
Yeah, but most of the stuff that Tony
like
does
3D.
uses AI to 3D, and then he'll 3D print. Whereas opposed to like the casks that are 3D printed are handmade. You know, I mean they're scanned, but they're handmade.
He'll come up with something, I guarantee.
I hope so, because he deserves to be on there. And his stuff is amazing.
But Sylvie's, I opened up her picture, and there was a quote from Arthur in there, and a quote from Mark Twain, and just the color choices from her are just unbelievable.
They're gorgeous.
Just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I will message you. She's probably like, don't tell everybody it says justice there. Don't be giving people clues. But no, I'm a big believer. We're only going to find these things if we all work together. So
it's Wah.
George.
It's Wah. Sylvie Wah.
it's like Patrick Roy, like the old goaltender.
Roa.
Wah.
Okay. Wah.
No, it's just Wah.
Sylvie Wah.
Wah.
Or as we call him in the U.S., Roy. Patrick Roy.
Buckadiddies.
Buckadiddies, yeah.
What was the Montreal Milwaukee quote you were talking about earlier?
And the GiftGiver thing.
Yeah.
The GiftGiver thing.
Sorry, I missed it.
Let's see. Looks like the podcast guys finally got something wrong about that one. It was the first started and the last finished for that reason. Milwaukee and Montreal followed, which is why they did not have many visual clues.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think there's a few clues in there. Go take a black light. Go have fun. Just go have fun with them.
I'm going to believe the GiftGiver on this one.
All right. I won't argue.
I'll attest to the red glasses.
It's very cool.
I mean, John did say stuff about color shifting, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. The thing that screws up Montreal is when we saw it in on Expedition Unknown, we know the colors are different because there was a lot of gold, and the gold just didn't come through in the book. It's all brown. You know?
I don't know what I'd do if I saw that dude in person.
John?
The painting.
Oh.
He haunts me.
Hopefully soon. I really want to make that happen. So hopefully soon.
I don't know how you. I was being a wise ass. I don't know how you top Cleveland, but that is 100%.
Yeah, it's a real goal, and I would like to make it happen. I just don't.
And I think John, at least with JJP, he has an understanding now that we're not all psychotic. Most of us are. Some of us are, but we are all very loving towards this book still.
I really, as long as I can find a museum close to me that will do it. Because it has to be a legit museum. It can't be like a storefront because there's a lot of art galleries or whatever in St. Augustine where I could get it done at, but that's not, he won't hang somewhere like that. And it has to be somewhere
to Sarasota, Ringling Museum.
Maybe, do you have a connection?
Possibly.
How far is that from you?
5 hours,
5 hours.
That's not bad.
As long as it's somewhere where I don't have to hop a flight if something happens. You know what I'm saying?
But he's got to hop a flight.
I don't think he would.
He's got a private jet. In my head, he goes wherever he wants to go. He says, teleport me here. In 5 seconds, he's there.
He just hops on Aragon's back or whatever the dragon
exactly.
Surfing, whatever it is.
He's got the Doctor Who telephone thing. He's good to go.
So what's the last line there? The colors. Colors don't matter much.
Shit. I don't remember. Colors don't matter much.
I disagree.
I put that on Discord. Now I slipped my mind. I can't remember.
The colors of the emerald, colors of the gems.
Well, you have a question mark in your note as well, so maybe you didn't know that either.
Maybe I didn't know that either. I don't know. I don't remember.
Are there themes of colors in each?
Oh, I remember now. It was Dan's question. Dan asked it at the meetup, and it was answered. Something about I don't completely understand the answer because I didn't completely understand the question. I didn't even really understand it at the meetup. It was something with printing presses and colors shifting around, and I think it had to do with like the amethyst is a color in the book where regular amethysts don't exist in that color, and did the printing process. Yes, did the printing process shift the colors too much and lose clues? And that's when he said he was with the printer and things changed, but it didn't matter so much. You didn't really lose anything. That's what it was.
So that question about the New York blue wouldn't make sense then, because that did matter.
The New York blue.
Yeah, the specific color of blue.
Oh,
used
the church
in New York.
Well, I mean, I think that's different because that's not shifted via printing. That's a very specific color that was chosen during printing. But when you're talking about, like, I think that's a different question than, did you paint this amethyst this color on purpose, or did it color shift during printing? And John being like, well, that doesn't really matter. I think that's a completely different question because that church is the only thing printed that way. It's printed in a very specific way, and it's the only thing printed that way in that book. Yeah, now, whether or not
in New York would be another question that those might have shifted.
Yeah, making that even more difficult. If it was difficult before. But what's weird is like we've seen that painting, and even like we've seen pictures of it, and even seeing that the actual colors, it doesn't help. So I don't know. But that was it. That's the notes. At least the ones that I've made public. You got all these others back here that I can't see.
I knew it. I fucking knew
Where's page
They're
3?
written in invisible ink.
Well, and again, I want to make sure everybody out there is aware that, because George will get a lot of crap for this. This is stuff that can be confirmed. This is stuff that people were there.
We can get crap anyway.
Conversations. Well, I know, but and wrongly so. But this is all truth, I guess, would be the right way to put it.
I mean, I get the criticism, and then I don't. Like, it's mostly criticism from old hunters who are like, oh, you're spoiling the hunt. But dude, it's 45 years old. Get the fuck over it. We need some new shit.
At this point, it is, I don't know how you spoil it. I really can't.
I don't either. It's like people begged for years that we need more information to cure confusion, or to put things in perspective, or to put people on the right path or whatever. And then you get it. And I think it's mainly the people who are against all of this information is people that the information goes against their thoughts.
Well, exactly.
The wilder their ideas, the less you want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to.
We need the like. We need the like button. How do we lobby for the like button?
The like button, the JJP like button. We should have a phone that when JJP has an idea, he hits a button like the Commissioner Gordon phone that goes right to somebody.
We got one of those.
and last week we got in trouble. I love
George. You guys didn't tell me what he said. What did he say to you? Like, what was?
Give me the
story.
When he called?
Yeah.
Oh, he asked if I was doing anything, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in the middle of a live stream." And he's like, oh, "Okay, well, I'll only take a second." And he wanted to ask about shipping for a painting that it sold or something, a couple of drawings that it sold. And then he told me a story, and then I reminded him that I was on a live stream, and then he told another story. It's generally the way it goes. So it wasn't anything really to do. And then he was like, please tell everybody Merry Christmas. It's like, okay.
Cool. It's AI shit.
Yeah.
I get it.
We did talk about, he really liked that sculpture of Castle Hat, because that was the one that was sent to him as an example. And he really liked it. And he was like, that's AI? I was like, yeah. He's like, somebody made it in Photoshop? I was like, no, dude. Somebody typed like 2 words into Sora, and it just, Sora made it. And he was like, I got to get another job.
I didn't realize that the fairy with the wooden block and tackle hanger is actually in the back part of the head. I always thought it was like right behind the ear, but it's not. It's way behind it. It gives you a different perspective.
Did John ever say anything, George, about like all 12 locations being decided before they started?
Everything that he's ever said about this puzzle was that it was very fluid.
So it's possible that some of the locations were decided before the other ones?
Yeah. I don't know. I think we've all been looking for like a list of how things, like in what order things were done. And I don't think we'll ever have that, because I don't think there is one.
I'm reading a quote from the meetup now that we know what we know, because we didn't at the time. Just saying that Byron came by the studio and saw an independent painting and said, I think we can use that because we were running short on time. So they tweaked a few things. So now that we know that that was San Francisco, I wonder what it was that Byron saw in the original painting that led him to think that that would be usable for that.
Or there was, it was just kind of open, like it was the base of a painting.
Maybe there wasn't supposed to be a West Coast immigration type, because Cathay wasn't added, wasn't on page 10, wasn't that an addition? Like it wasn't listed as 13 or something?
Yeah, because maybe Byron figured out he had a date with a young lady he wanted to see and decided to add one in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think we can use this.
He could bill the expenses for his date to the publishing company.
Oh, anybody would do that.
San Francisco would be a good one to just hang stuff on.
Yeah, so not shown. Prince Yi Si Wang Mu. That was not part of the original deal. It's not listed on page 10.
Or it was just geographically so much further, it was harder to put on that map.
Well, why? No, they would just be number 14 and list it.
But that map doesn't show all the way to China, does it? I'm going off.
Yeah, well, it just has a line going off, but
right.
It's not number 14. 13 is Africa.
Yeah, because
and they always said there was going to be another edition that they wanted to do, maybe the West Coast. So maybe it was never intended to be part of the whole first book.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what would have got Byron's imagination in that, and would he have already? We don't even know when they were buried, right?
It would have been a need to have Irish and Scottish.
When was it that we know that Byron was in San Francisco? There was a time. It's on the history timeline because I've got the postmark thing.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like if Asia was never supposed to be intended.
No, but he might have already picked the location of that, and they just hadn't come up with the painting concept yet. And he might have looked at that one and been like, "Well, why don't we just adapt that for San Francisco?"
January 5th. January 5th was when he was in San Francisco.
81?
81?
82.
80. Oh, yeah. Start of year 82, right.
But that's not the only time he was in San Francisco. He just happened to be in San Francisco.
It wouldn't be too difficult to edit the story of the passage and the other. I forget what the journey. What's it called? The vanishing. To add that to the end as a coda.
No.
To add, you know what I mean? It's a possibility. Had to join Scottish and Irish together as one immigration group. Maybe that's why it's got 13 on page 10.
It kind of makes sense that it would just be thrown in. And then if that was thrown in, and Montreal and Milwaukee came afterwards, it would make sense why Montreal is Dutch. But then again, Milwaukee has strong German ties, so that doesn't fit them. Never mind.
Well, just that they were last to be finished.
Yeah. But I was saying if he was planning them in order he was doing them, but it would make sense. Anyway, we've gone 2.5 hours. Do we want to keep going or not?
I have to jet, gentlemen.
Okay.
My tummy is hungry and my children need to be put to bed.
All right.
But it was a privilege podcasting with you all, and stay cool.
Bye.
Thanks.
Is this it for you? Is that it for you? Or are you not quitting yet?
I don't know. I'm done ski now. So
he has an episode coming out in a couple of days.
Reach out. Let me know when you're in Winnipeg, buddy.
I'll do that. Be well, gentlemen.
Take care.
Bye. And Sunday. Bye.
Bye. Oh, sad.
Slightly late on
that. Sucks. Sorry, I'm here, but my internet is just like dragging. So everybody's like, yes, I didn't want to also be like freezing and stuff like that. Aw, that sucks.
All right. What now? Are we good or we want to keep going?
I always want to keep going, but that doesn't mean that is the right thing to do. So.
I always worry about attention spans when you go too far and people start falling off.
I just misread a quote and it took me back to nostalgia. Joseph McGarity said Montreal, one tree all. Funny, I was checking the time, but I misread that as One Tree Hill. And I was like, man, I missed that show.
You too.
Yeah.
I missed that show.
That's one of my favorite U2 songs.
One Tree Hill is a U2 song? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very good teen drama on the CW about a basketball team and some murder.
Oh, goodness. Oh, that U2.
Somebody still owes me a Sunday Bloody Fun Day.
I need to set up my lab. So
what?
I wrote a song. George asked me to write a song, and I wrote a rough draft of Sunday Bloody Fun Day. And I got to put it together because it's funny. It's silly, but it fits the podcast. So I just need to sit down. I need to reset up my studio and do it. But it's what, 40 seconds, 50 seconds. It's just a goofball.
It was back when me and Brett were like, we need to come up with a theme song for Sunday Fun Day. Like, what if we get someone to cover Sunday Bloody Sunday, but instead change it to Sunday Bloody Fun Day?
And I sent him a rough version of it, and the words are funny, and it's funny. I just need to clean it up, and I'll get to it. I promise. I just as soon as I send out some Christmas gifts.
All right. Well, then I guess we can go. Because there's nothing else. Unless, is there any... Did you guys have any questions about... I'd rather answer all the questions now.
No, I think we covered it.
Let's do one on the passage, though. There's definitely a lot of material there.
Fuck it. Let's do it right now.
We get up at 5.
I'm really sad to hear that Cara Julia is close, though.
It's temporary. We're building the new places middle of February, hopefully.
Oh, okay. So,
all
right. Well, because I have not heard any bad reviews about that place, so I was really wanting to go, but I just don't ever get to Sarasota.
You gotta wait a couple months.
That's fine. I don't mind. All right. Well, then, if there's nothing else, do we need to hang out afterwards? Do you guys have questions that can't go on the live stream?
I have a question.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Well, then I will stop streaming. Hang out if you want. Hang on.